Hi, everybody. Yeah, we're just going straight into it today. I'm not even going to put up a starting soon screen. Yeah. Yeah, we're ready. Yes, hello. Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah, I see you. I see you live now too. Would you look at that? Yes. And towards the end of it, we had started going like over specific kind of like specific traps and puzzles and stuff like that, and like how would you react to them? And we decided that it might be kind of fun to do that as a stream, just kind of like how would you deal with a trap and stuff like that kind of stuff. Yeah. See, that's what I was thinking. Or I mean, we could do it either way. We could do it in character or like meta, like meta playing. Because most play, a lot of traps are going to you need a metaphor in order to like understand how the fuck they work. That's just by design, you know. And so like I think we could do it both ways. Yeah. Oh, hold on.
I didn't
My
do it.
bad, Jim. You have been silent this whole time. That is completely my fault.
Shame.
Sam actually
Oh,
told me.
thank you,
Thank you,
Sam.
Sam. I wasn't looking at chat. That's my bad. But no, thank you,
That's
Sam.
okay.
I appreciate you.
But so
They're
anyway,
good people.
pits. Yeah, they're your right. They're your bog standard. They don't all necessarily have to be the secret thing. They can just be a chasm, a canyon, a ravine, all going to be in the same category. You are forcing your opponent to take falling damage, whether uh, because they get knocked over because they fall in. So pits is just the general term. Um, First thing I would make sure that you understand, is it open or is it closed? And adhere to that. If it's a covered pit in the jungle with reeds and all of that, once it's stepped upon, it's now considered an open pit forevermore.
Yeah.
So if you have the snapping trap closed door pits, you need to make sure that it makes sense. You can't have a 30-foot long pit that has a trap door that falls down into a 20-foot deep pit, whereas unless it's splitting in the middle or splitting in the middle, that kind of a thing. That's kind of the mechanical stuff that you need to make sure that makes sense for your traps as you go with them, if you expect your players to treat them more than a skill roll. The more energy, I hate to use the word energy, but the more logic and the more mechanics that you put into your traps, I think the more your players will engage with it, instead of just relying on, I use sleight of hands, I use perception, blah blah blah. That's just
Yeah.
my opinion.
And I kind of think that the late traps and stuff like that should be fun for the players. It shouldn't just be a role, honestly. Like it should be a thing that like they can stumble upon. Like we've talked about this a lot before. Is like characters that have like really high perception. Like are they allowed to just notice traps?
That's
Kind of stuff.
that's why they're built that way.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, like that takes a lot of fun out of like actually like running into a trap. I mean, I understand nobody
That's,
wants to run into a trap, but when you do, it's like a moment in the game and like it's something
well,
that you have to discover like sometimes it's even like, oh, we have to figure out how to get past this trap in order to get through the door kind of stuff.
yeah, I hear you. I hear, and what I think, because of the existence of this is I'm going to try really hard not to go ranty on it, but all comes back to how you learn the game and how you practice the game.
Yeah.
When you first come into D&D, if you're playing fifth any edition, really, what you have in front of you is how you learn. A lot of people, that was Lost Minds of Fandevler. Good module, but the guidelines are set for basic level. You're not given a whole lot from there. And let's be honest, very rarely in any printed book do you see a DC over 18.
Yeah.
So
True.
if your party's walking in with a passive of 18, that's a waste of time to even bother with traps because they're going to see them all because everything that Wizards has given me says a DC of 18 is hard. I think that's why we don't use most traps because they're auto detect. So at that point, it's a waste of time.
I don't know. I mean, look, and it's just the me and me, but I would 100% make harder traps to find. Like, I'd be like, fuck it. If they're not going to give me higher DCs, I'm going to make my own damn shit.
And
You
I
know?
do.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah, but we're not talking just. I mean, that's the danger when you're kind of doing, talking about a rule set is you still have to use the expected baseline, which is rule as written, product as published, generally available information. And yes, the listed difficulty checks and the vast majority of Wizards of the Coast do not support the level of play that they need to.
yeah. I mean,
Maybe the bounded accuracy actually isn't as bounded as they say it is.
I mean, we can't just say like perception for everything. Like, I'm not going to say that like, oh, the BBEG has cast like, some kind of illusionary spell over the floor, so you like it is lava or it is
Yeah.
fucking spike pits or whatever. I don't think that a character should be able to just straight up perceive that. I mean, I'm fine
I
with it if you
agree.
have like the eyes for it, maybe, but like just for you to be like, oh, I have a perception of 21, I just see the trap automatically. Like, no.
But think about by that point where you're at the BBEG, and think about a group of 4 or 5 very knowledgeable, very resourceful people. They are on auto detect, auto resist, auto destroy everything by that point.
And that's fair. Yeah. I mean,
You can't,
and at that point, I guess it's kind of more.
But my true sight gem lets us all see that that's truly an illusion. Okay.
Yeah. I hate that. True sight's one of those things I really feel like breaks the game so much. Like, it really does. Like, the fact that like you can just have that as a thing. Like, it's not like specific to your class or to your race or something like that. I can understand that. But for it just to be like a thing that you can get later on, like,
yeah,
I don't like it. I think it breaks the game really hard.
Well, yeah, there's a lot of
you
stuff.
You don't have to give it to people.
But well, what it comes from where does the source of it? Lots of different sources. Huh? Devil's Sight, True Sight.
Yeah, I mean, that's better than giving them True Sight, or because like Devil's Sight, they can see through magical darkness, so that's still like a better ability for them, but it doesn't make it so they can like automatically see through every fucking illusion that exists.
Well, we're probably gonna go off tangent as we do this. That's okay. We're here for a rando discussion. It's okay, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so setting up the traps. I mean, first and foremost, that might be the paramount discussion you have with your players if you're planning on going trap heavy, or if you're first starting out as a dungeon master and as a play group. Hey guys, the way the mechanics work, there's a lot of really cool shit like the light beam spear trap from the Raiders of the Lost Ark, and some of the stuff. It's going to be on auto detect by level 7. So, we need to not use that as part of the game, and that's up to you. As a player in a play group, because I mean, that was like, for example, Akko, my bard. About the 4th session in, I said, "Can I re-roll him because I'm sitting here with a passive of 19." You're fucking me constantly. You're fucking in the group constantly, and I'm fucking you because, excuse my language, because I'm forcing you into a situation of either not using anything or telling me too much because I have a passive perception of 19. I'm going to drop that, change out feats, and we're going to not sweat it. But mechanically speaking, I had rights to know way, way, way more information than was 100%. Healthy for the game.
Oh, 100%. Like, I don't know. I think that's one of the things that I like about.
But it's a mechanic that's there for players to use. It's a mechanic there for game. Gamers gonna game, man.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about passives in general. Like,
I don't like them. Yeah, I don't like them at all.
Yeah. Yeah, because it does make a lot of stuff. Like, I was gonna say, it does trivialize like quite a few things, mostly perception. But I mean, like, insight's also a thing. If you had it really high, when people are lying to you now. Just automatically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like, I mean, all of them are things.
Now let me submit this to you. I think the reason those were there is to And I'm gonna call out some love on Baldur's Gate 3. How often you see those little passives trigger here and there that remind you to look for something. So I think those are set there for DMs to give your players. You see something unusual out of the corner of your eye, but due to your, due to your passive perception, you're not sure what it is, and it's gone from that possible trigger. If you use it right and approach it right, it's a tool that you, the dungeon master, can put the little glow on the glowing object that the party needs to see, or put the question mark on the guy that needs to have the question mark if you use them properly. But it's such a slippery slope to using it as a trigger to being abused by the players.
There are quite a few. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like how other passives would be used other than just perception. Because like again, insight, you can notice, like you walk into a bar, you notice there's a dude who's like a little fucking twitchy off into the side. Like that's insight.
Well, that falls under perception in
Well, I
most
mean,
cases, though.
Yeah, but I mean,
No, that's there's
right, but
yeah.
I'm speaking more towards like his actions more than like how than just noticing him though.
Well, but would that be investigation? You see, therein where it starts falling down as well is you could genuinely sit there, and we have sat
That's
there
fair.
and argued for
That's
way
fair.
too long about. Let me just use technically. So fine, we're back to level. We're back to passive of 19 wisdom because technically everything is perception to begin with.
Those are Jim's like
So
two least favorite words. Well, technically. You would piss Jim off, say that to him for like 2 straight hours during the combat.
I don't mind it once in a while. I don't mind it as a clarification, but that it does get old as the opening terms of your turn, And but what bothers me is it's like then y'all get mad when I go well technically back. It's like my technically goes way deeper than y'all's technically. That's why I don't want to play that game.
I just roll with it, man.
I hear you, man. It's okay. But anyway, the argument can be adjusting how you handle passive perception, passive investigation, and passive insight before you even start. Make sure that you discuss that with your group before you go, so you have the room to, number one, make them valuable skills instead of ignoring them because they put it on auto win. That's what ends up happening. People jack those numbers up so high that me as a dungeon master completely ignore it. I don't put a facet of the game that touches those unless they actively do something. Or I overwhelm them with so much information that they can't find the truth in the matter because you perceive the world, man. I'm telling you how it smells, how the gravel between your feet feels, what the air is like, the grit that falls through the burning smoke as it because you're perceptive as fuck.
Fucking, I would start messing with people. Oh, you walk into a room, you see a spoon, a cup, 14 sheets of paper. You see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Like start counting all tiles to them on the floor and shit. Oh, I would. Yeah, I would get bad with it. That's good. I like that.
I mean, but there are times that you guys get a lot more information about a room than really matters.
Yeah.
And after a little while, they become absolutely dead to the description. So mission has been accomplished by honoring the fact that they can perceive and see everything in an environment as they walk in, and overwhelming them with the amount of information. They go next room, and you still won.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah. But again, we're on traps today, so
yeah. Well, that's part of traps, though.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
If you can make everything mundane, and if you can everything mundane special, then roles don't matter. Active participation in the environment is the thing. The bottle on the shelf that has the cord attached to the bottom of it, when you pick it up, it opens a secret door. Figuring out which one of those 76 bottles on the 2 shelves that is. How are you going to handle that? What's my passive perception? Well, you see one of them has fingerprints on it. Well, I grabbed the bottle. One has dozens have fingerprints on them. Some of them are big, some of them are small. How do you Okay, that's the point, Now that's where you add the trap. We've got the trick as far as the bottle is triggering the secret door. The trap is one of those bottles is attached to the shelf, pulls a whole damn shelf down, and a few of those bottles are full of poisonous gas and the room's dead. Yay, I win.
I mean, I'm not against
How
it
do
though.
you? Okay, so well, if now let's go a step further. If I set that up as the trap, what do I give the party as a chance to detect that?
Well, I mean, I guess it would depend on what they're actually doing.
If
Um,
they're pulling the bottles off the wall willy nilly,
th-
and one of them
then
is
I wouldn't
nailed
give them
into the
anything.
wall, and you go, "I'm sorry."
Then I
Okay.
wouldn't give them any roll. Yeah, if they're like, hey, I want to actually check these bottles out, then I would give them a roll for it if it was something like that. But if they're like, no, I'm just gonna pull bottles, you're not getting a roll. Sorry, you're pulling bottles.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that
Yeah,
might be
because for that
harsh, but I
trap,
mean, like that's what you decided you were doing. You're not looking at it. You said I'm pulling every bottle, which is what I'm saying.
that's 4 shelves.
Yeah.
One of the shelves is actually attached to the bottle, and when you pull the bottle, it pulls the entire shelf, dropping the rest of them underneath it, and there's a shatter of poisonous gas.
Yeah.
Everything else is just a normal bottle with the one that's got the little trigger on it that opens the door.
Yeah.
So how to describe that versus how to administer that versus how to solve that can be 3 different steps.
I would maybe give them a dexterity check to go, hey, can you catch the shelf before it like tips over all the way? Like, can you like hold it up or something? Like, if it
Yeah.
flips straight down, like I might give them something like that. That way they can perhaps stop it from like exploding on them. But yeah, not just
Okay.
for the bottle itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would be fair.
Yeah.
I mean,
That way
obviously,
it's not
because we're
just.
fifth.
I was gonna say yeah, that because
It's
depending
still
on the edition,
Constitution saved
yeah, I
and
was
da
gonna
da
say
da.
yeah. But I was gonna
It
say
may
yeah,
just be a minor.
yeah. But I was gonna say previous editions, yeah, fuck it, you dead. Sorry.
Save versus poison die.
Yeah.
So
So sorry.
so okay, you set that type of a puzzle up. Um, you have a couple indicators to tell them good or bad. And here's the thing: the bottle that's set up to the trap is probably going to be cleaner looking than the rest as well. So you can still
Mhm.
trap them without trapping them. 2 of the bottles look remarkably less. Have less dust on them. You notice the cobwebs are missing on the second shelf from the bottom, and there's a patch of cobwebs missing on the top shelf. The rest of the bottles look old and covered and stuff is running, or and dust and buildup in webs. What do you want to do?
See, I'd do the reverse psychology on this shit because like I think in my brain I'd go, okay, well the higher up one is the one that's more difficult to get to, so that's probably actually the one that opens up the door. But I would do that to purposely trap players and be like, nope, that one is the one that actually tips over, so we can hit every shelf on the way down. That's what
So
I would do.
just simply presenting that they pass, whether it was an investigation check or a passive check, I described that situation to them. I've given them the trap and the clue as something that they've seen, both of them as unusual.
Yeah.
At that point, it's up to them. There shouldn't be any more. Well, can I roll to see which one's the right one? No.
Nah, not even a little bit. You can pull them both at the same time. I'll let you guys do that.
Yeah. You grab one, you grab the other. I don't care what you do. This is what you notice. You could ignore those. For all you know, the resident housekeeper comes by and purposefully cleans those 2 bottles off to mislead you. The one that's got all the webs could be the one that's hidden.
And Presto's
You don't know.
the right bottle, so it's dirty. Yeah.
You don't know. And that's where you really start messing with your group. Most of the time, they'll 99% of it, they're like, he's talking out of his ass. But there's that 1% they're like, or is he?
I'm not gonna lie, I would
So
love that shit. That'd be like my favorite thing if you were like, yeah, these are the 2 clean bottles and they do nothing.
now that
That would
that
immediately be
goes.
like, okay, now we need to fucking think about this shit. After that, I'd be like, okay, they're clearly fucking with us.
But now that's fun to do, but you got to be consistent with it.
Yeah.
Some of the most entertaining dungeons in the world are the one that everything is so tricky and crazy and convoluted. The simplest solution is the true solution. Occam's razor, man.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is
We go with the
you're
barbarians
going to
plan.
change them and cut their face open at one point with that same razor, and your team's going to cry foul because you changed the rules on them. Oh, I'm with you. What do you do,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Dude, I'm
I mean,
full of bloodlust after Tuesday, man.
I
I'm
mean,
all about
look,
fuck it all.
let's be honest here. At your table, there's certain decisions that you're going to make that are just going to piss off at least one person at your table. That's just how
Very
it's
true.
going to be. It's just how it's going to be.
Yeah.
And you just got to deal with it sometimes. Just like, yeah, sorry, that's what happened.
Well, more than that, make sure that you communicate this kind of stuff before you engage in it as a regular part of gameplay.
Yeah.
The Desert of Desolation campaign. I hammered into them. This is going to be survival. You're going to count your ammo. You're going to count your water. No, we're just going to cast Magic Stone and summon food and drink over and over. But go ahead, DM. Anyway, what you're saying? Well, it's going to be full of traps and tricks and illusions. Okay, well, I've got passive 19. Yeah, I'll make sure to take detect magic. And what else you got? Nothing. I guess we'll play. You know.
The only way, okay, so you're going into Desert Desolation, and they metagamed their characters to survive. The only way that I could deal with that as a DM was like, okay, then you are an actual explorer party, and you have someone to fucking answer to because they're gonna want their money back if you don't complete this fucking mission, kind of stuff.
So
that's the only way I
hey,
can justify that to myself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's early in 5th edition when I'm getting into it, and it's all in spirit of cooperation and in spirit of collaboration.
Yeah.
Again, at the end of the day, that was my mistake for running that campaign for that group. That's a campaign that's designed for people that want the survival aspect. But here's the same thing. That's what they say about Out of the Abyss. And ain't a single fool in that group going to make a character without dark vision.
Is that supposed to?
If you go into the Out of the Abyss,
is that supposed to be a thing? I don't know.
What?
Out of the Abyss. I know that a lot of people hate it, but that's all I know about it. Is like nobody ever talks about it.
Peachy says, "Hello, Double J's. How are you two? We're doing well, thank you." Out of the Abyss, the campaign starts out with your party and 7 or 8 other non-player characters naked and afraid in a drow jail in the Underdark.
Interesting.
The only thing that they get away with is what they can salvage from the camp, and then what they can salvage from the environment around them for the first couple levels. It's literally supposed to be naked and afraid in the Underdark. Yeah. And then you're like, oh, I'm a Warforged. I don't get affected by needing to eat or drink. It's okay. Okay, well, make sure everyone's got dark vision so we don't have to worry about it. It's the same kind of a thing because you want to encourage your players to have fun, but invariably the selection of characters, classes, and lineups invalidates the entire challenge of the campaign. So either be willing to say no or be willing to ignore a large facet of the early part of the game.
Yeah. That's one of those things where like I would have to fight with myself because I understood. I knew the prison thing. I didn't know that you were in the Underdark for it and stuff like that. But I think that'd be one of those things where it'd be really fun to actually play with a character that doesn't have dark vision because you're gonna have a torch and nobody else is, and that's gonna be very interesting to have to figure out how to deal with that. Because sometimes you're just gonna have to be fucking blind. Like that's just how it's gonna be.
Yeah. So, but being willing to do that. Well, let's look at our
I'm gonna take blind sight.
Barovia campaign. How many of y'all can see in the dark?
I don't think any of us
No, not Barovia. I'm sorry. Planescape. One of you guys has dark vision. Remember we walked into the lower tomb when the magical light was off? It was like, Tiki can see, the rest of us can't. Oh, shit.
That was my bad because I am a lizard folk. I can as well.
Okay, but yeah. So out of 5 players, 2 people can see in the dark, the other 3 can't.
Yeah.
So it changes things up a little bit there. But,
that's cool. I know have to deal with it. Because like that's one of those things where you can't really hide from enemies at that point in time.
Yeah. So the flip side of that is that's all something, I guess we went the long way about talking about making sure that you're discussing with your group at the start of the game. Part of the challenge is going to be overcoming this with game mechanics, not feats and backgrounds and spells. Yeah. If your characters don't want to do that, then maybe you don't play that campaign or you don't run it that style because everyone's going to end up frustrated. But you don't want to flip all of a sudden in the middle of it and go dark mode on them. Oh, now it's for real. Warn them if you need to. But yeah, don't. I guess like kind of like we were joking about a second ago. If you set up a puzzle dungeon to be the massive rooms of distractions with the most obvious clue, 3 rooms in a row, and then the 4th room you flip it on its head. And your group's going to cry foul because you're teaching them how to do something and then you're flipping the rules on their head. So try to be clear about your stuff to begin with. If you want to run puzzle heavy, tell them, I give 0 Fs about your passives. Don't waste the feat on alertness because I'm not going to honor it. Be upfront with them. You know, you're gonna have to use your brains. You're gonna have to ask me what you see. What does this room look like? You know, like we used to have to do back in the day. You know, but that's not official fifth edition, man.
Yeah. I was just thinking about something actually for the alert thing. Do you know how fucking creepy it would be? Because like alert only warns you if they tend to do you harm. But like how creepy would it be for your fucking party to wake up and there just be a guy in their fucking camp? Like he didn't mean them to do any harm. He's just there because alert's not gonna wake you up for that. He's
Mhm.
just there. It'd be the
Yeah.
fucking weirdest thing.
Yeah. And I mean, how many people get? I mean, weapons of warning are at least one in every party. You
Yeah.
know, we laugh about how surprise is broken in D&D 5th edition. Surprise doesn't exist because there's so many player-owned mechanics that negate the surprise. And you can't give your party surprise when they're walking into a lair talking shit at each other about how stupid their idea is while no one rolled for stealth and everyone's carrying 300 pounds of shit. Stealth doesn't exist in D&D 5e anymore, so surprise doesn't exist.
And that's one of those things is like I don't understand why we've gotten to this point within the community, and this is just me doing a little side rant thing where it's not about playing the game anymore, it's about winning the game. You know?
Right?
And I don't know where that happened, but like it's weird because like that's always been like part of like the D&D kind of thing. It's like it's an adventure. You're supposed to struggle. You're supposed to overcome shit. You're not supposed to be good at every fucking thing. That's why you have a party. You know?
Mm,
It's just one of those things. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I think part of it's a lot of it's video gaming because video games are built on a specific code with a specific beginning and a specific ending. By and large, they're meant to be won. Although ironically, the games that everyone claims to love are the sandbox ones where you don't have to play to win, you can do what you want. But then you come to and you want to win.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a good argument, you know, or that's a tough argument. That's a tough discussion point.
Yeah.
Um, because if you're as a dungeon master, I want you guys to win too, so we can keep playing, so
Yeah.
we can come back next week, so we can continue the adventure. Getting all of the auto win categories in front of you takes a lot of the fun out of it for me. Number one, because now it becomes work to make things challenging because you guys have got all the auto buttons. And number two, it makes everything becomes mundane at that point when you can handle everything.
Yeah.
Through a skill roll or through a potion or through a right clicky on my item or whatever, you know. So it's really ingrained in the culture right now.
And I think this is just another one of those things. I think this is why people don't want to play bards anymore, is because of stuff like this. Because that's kind of the bard's little niche, is that they are good at everything. They're a jack of all trades, but like
Yeah.
only skill wise. Like they're not going to do like a whole fuck ton for you in combat, but they're going to help you in everything out of combat.
Mm-hmm. But so much out of combat gets ignored because of passives.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I really think that that's like a thing. I think that a lot of people complain about how certain classes are bad in 5e and stuff like that, but I really think that it's about how we've started playing the game and not so much about the game
Yep.
itself. Because people are like, I want to play like people are like Rangers are bad. Well, I mean, it depends on what campaign you're in, and you can pick terrain that matches where you're going, and like Rangers can be good and stuff like that. But like nobody wants to play one because they're not doing like 1,000 fucking damage in a turn. You know?
You can't find a Reddit thread on how to make the infinite damage loop on a ranger that you can find on everyone else, so they're ignored.
Yeah.
You know. That's my problem as a dungeon master. That's not my responsibility as a dungeon master. I'm not the asshole that brings those to the table.
Yeah. And
And dungeon masters, that's not your fault. Either A, understand that people are going to play broken characters and you just kind of shrug your shoulder, which is where I'm at. Go ahead, that's fine. I don't care. Or B, learn how to say no. And in future campaigns, I'll be saying no quite a bit.
Yeah.
You know? Or C, keep on practicing and get better at your job. Run mock combats. Make sure that you know your monsters. The same party that we've been bragging about for 6, all of our streams, a Great Hawk group. I jumped on them like a bear on a cooler on Tuesday night.
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
gleeful.
absolutely.
I had a great time, and they could have been dead for me. I could have had them all dead TPK'd in 3 rounds.
100%.
3 rounds.
Yep.
I kicked dust on their bodies and flew away laughing, and hopefully it's kind of changed the paradigm. It changed my paradigm because you've been hearing me go for months and months about how OP the characters are. No, they're as powerful as you let them be. If you set up an encounter intelligently, you set up your monsters intelligently, and you fight when you're supposed to fight, not when the characters go, okay, we're ready. You're gonna it's a different world, man.
Yeah. No, it's fair. I really, yeah. If you guys are watching now, definitely go back. I have that like on one of my more recent ones. It was Tuesday that we did it.
Yeah. Catch the last half hour or last 40 minutes.
Yeah. Where like, yeah. Where Jim's like, hey, yeah, by the way, you're gonna die now. Figure it out. The whole dynamic changes real quick.
Yeah, so number one, it's never told you about my wizard. Well, kick it in, Sapicha. We're talking traps and tricks and puzzles, but we've already changed subjects 3 times.
Yeah.
You know how we roll over here. You're welcome to kick in whatever. But yeah, the fight went that way because let's be honest, Josh, that fight's been gone in my head for 3 months now.
I know.
So I knew exactly. It's like, now's my moment. Bam. Which is what a dragon guarding their lair should be doing.
Yeah. I'm completely
smarter,
play
harder.
Fucking that's, and then that's another one of those things where like because I know you were having your dragon discussion thing where like I believe that dragons should be badasses in D&D. Like that's why they're so revered. That's why they're part of the name of the fucking game. You know, that's why like they were like some of the original beings that existed. You know, the first mortals currently technically within 5e lore were dragons. And that's only because they gave up their godhood to their immortality. But yeah, so
Pichu's got a wizard subclass theme about chess. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. It's just one of those things where it's like they're supposed to be badasses. You're not supposed to just walk up on a fucking dragon and just slam it down, you know.
Well, and I was, Cindy and I were talking about that because she was like, "What could we have done differently? With what we have in front of us, what could we have done differently?" And it's like, not walked in the front door is probably the first thing that would have gone differently. That's the front door to his lair. He's sitting there behind a curtain watching things and waiting for the perfect moment to jump you. You know, I mean, I described how the defensive structure of his lair was set up. Dungeon masters, your creatures have lairs. And I did you guys a solid because typically a black dragon, its lair is submerged. Its main layer is underwater because it's amphibious. It does not need to breathe. You know, its favorite way to get in and out of its lair is to swim through a tunnel.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't want to say did you a solid, but if you really start taking and adding the environmental factors, like I joke about with the blue dragon, a player should never, ever, 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 ever see the entry to a blue dragon lair. Blue dragon's got a burrow speed of 30. They're going to fly up in the air, dive into the sand, and come up in their lair somewhere.
Yeah. 100%.
You know, and when they go to win and the foolish mortals roll into Imrith's lair at the end of Storm King's Thunder, you know what Imrith needs to do? Blow the ceiling out from above her and burrow her way out while the players suffocate and die to bludgeoning damage. Game over, TPK. You win again, Imrith. Damn. They should never even have touch. They shouldn't touch her. You should. That's being a shitty DM, though, isn't it?
Look, you have no idea, like how much I really just wish, and I'd be even fine with you. I don't doing this. I don't know because we've never reached the actual end of a campaign yet. But I would so love for a DM just to have the balls just at the very end of a fucking campaign to be like, no, you lose. Sorry, you died. Oh man.
Okay, we've got the subclass stuff up in here. The School of the Grand Master. You get proficiency with the Chess Dragonlance board. That's the cost game from the Dragonlance stuff. It's one of the tools. And whenever you cast a leveled spell, you summon a giant mechanical chess piece accordingly. Each piece has their own movement and perks, but they're a tile all a tile of three-quarters cover. As long as they're not permanent summons, as long as it's like a one turn type thing. Otherwise, I could see a high level dude having 4 level 1 slots, 3 level
like-
2 slots, 1 level 3 slot. At level 6, you're now sitting with 8 chess pieces on the board.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking.
That-
Yeah.
That's my initial thing. If there's a control on how long the summons lasts, I kind of like it, but now you're also giving them a free pet / familiar / spiritual weapon with a cast of every spell. Maybe, this is initial, like I said, I'd have to see the data, but maybe if you switch it over to where instead of casting a slotted spell, they can use that spell to summon A, B, or C. Otherwise, the way I've just read it is they're going to get a 2 for every time. I'm going to cast Lightning Bolt and I'm getting my bishop out. That's powerful.
You can only move diagonally though, so this is going to make the combat very difficult.
Well, okay, so no matter how many pieces you have, you can only move 1 per turn. The pawn appears when you cast a first level spell, basic movement, but pushes when attacking. Bishops cast Bane and anyone diagonally to it. That's a lot of effects on the board at the same time for now here's the flip side of it. As long as they're only there for a minute, we'll say, or you put concentration on, how are you going to control the amount of stuff that you can have in one fight other than being the one control is obviously you're out of slots, you're out of pieces.
Right.
But long rest
yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. And like the higher levels you get, the more slots you have, especially as a wizard. So like my thing would be like a once per day per each one of those levels kind of things. Like once per long rest, maybe once per short rest.
I like the idea. I definitely think it would
cool.
You'd have to play around with it and play some balance. It just needs some tweaking and balance, but the idea looks really cool. Especially playing off of the focus of Dragonlance, the Dragonlance universe's focus on chess, the cost game as part of their stuff. Cool.
I'd even be down.
2 forever. Okay, because Sapichu, let me go ahead and read off what they said. The School of the Grand Master, you get the proficiency with the chess Dragonlance board, and whenever you cast a leveled spell, you summon a giant magical chess piece accordingly. Each piece has their own movements and perks, but they're all a tile of 3/4 cover. So you're summoning cover on the board. A pawn appears when you cast a first level spell, basic movement, but pushes when it attacks, which is pretty strong. Bishops, because a player has to use a bonus action or a maneuver die to push someone.
Yeah.
So if your pawn can do the same thing that a level 3 battle master can do, that's the balancing.
Now, is it just a push, no damage? Like it hits it just pushes it? Because that's one thing. Like that's just you
that's
moving
fair.
it.
It's a push action instead of an attack. Touche.
Yeah, that's one thing. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Yeah. So then the next step is pushes the attack. Bishops cast Bane and anyone diagonally to it. Diagonals are kind of funky because it all depends on the orientation of your map.
See, now that's a thing though. Is Bane is a concentration spell, is it not?
Yes, it is.
I thought so, and it only affects 3 people when you cast it. So you've effectively gone, okay, I can cast Bane myself, and then cast Bane with a bishop, and have 2 concentration spells out and affect 6 people if you have them lined up correctly.
Yeah.
Especially if you're using your pawn to push them into place.
Yeah. So no matter how many pieces you have, you can only move 1 piece on your turn. But it will take resources and time to build up, and you only get 2 of each piece except 1 king and 1 queen. It's a damage and push on the pawn, but it can only hit for diagonally in front of it, so it's pretty hard to use a pawn for damage. You're going to, first and foremost, from a DM standpoint on a battle map, the first thing you'll have to do is immediately establish horizontal, vertical, and diagonal as a fixed point on a map.
Yeah.
Because what's horizontal at one point is diagonal, and the next point is vertical on it. So that would be something you definitely have to make sure to mechanically handle that. Moving forward, I have cast my first piece. I am oriented to horizontal. Everything from that point is vertical. So that would be a caution as far as actual mechanics go. I'd like to see, I definitely would want to see what each piece can do in accordance with their move. Yeah. Because like Josh said, you're giving yourself 2 concentration spells, and that's like one of the biggest no-nos in D&D 5e. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah. So Pichu said added a rule that when you got to decide a direction to be the front when you summon the first piece. Okay.
That's fair.
Which
Yeah.
adds some strategy to it. Very, very, that I do like that, because if you line up wrong, you have to be smart about getting your pieces to move into place. Are they damageable? Are the pieces?
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to think about like what abilities it would have, and like all I can think of is like all the king does is it falls over. That's all it can do. It just crushes people.
Power word kills, range of 1. Yeah. So yeah, that's an interesting concept. It's an interesting concept. But like I said, that brings into a whole lot of stuff to play. Um, how powerful is each piece? How hard are they to hit? What kind of resistances are they going to have? How much are they allowed to move? How many that's now, and this is ironically kind of something that we were talking about as in our play group the other night after the dragon did the dance of haha you suck and flew off. Everyone was ready to re-roll because they've been running a long time without a cleric. One of our players wants to bring in a character basically they can legally summon and control 8 combatants in combat for
Plus
a third level
themselves.
spell as part of plus themselves. It's all legal. But man, it's going to go to 3 to 4 minutes from 3 to 4 minutes per turn that they're taking. 1 to 3 minutes of the turn that they're taking right now, to 10-15 minutes to manage all of this stuff for one of the players. So I've got 5 other players at the table that are going to be like, while we're maneuvering all of these tokens.
Oh, our
So that would be
combat
the other
already
thing that
takes
I'll talk.
forever too.
Yeah.
We get into combat where that's going to be a session.
And it'll last
I don't know
as
what
long
it
as
is.
I hold.
I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter how big or small the fucking the encounter is. It takes us a fucking session to beat it.
Well, because I'm not holding to my rule.
Yeah.
My rule has always been you cannot take longer than I do in combat. I have to run 9 pieces and know what's going on with your pieces during my turn. You should not be taking longer than me. But if I was to do that, y'all's turns would be like instant. I do move fast. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. But yeah, so that's the other thing that I would talk about. They do have hit points in AC that scales with your level.
Ooh.
That's almost a solo class, Sapichu.
Yeah, that's pretty.
That's like
that's
you're
pretty
playing
wild.
solo wizard with an army of chess pieces, and that could be fun. But man. But again, that's comparable. Other than the escalating power that she's talking about, that they're talking about,
Yeah.
how's that different than a warlock with a dread spirit, 3 zombies, and 5 skeletons that they could legally pull up in 5th edition right now?
I mean, because skeletons have 1 HP.
Well, no. Look at a summons for a fucking warlock, man. A level 8 warlock skeleton is like a CR2 monster, dude.
Are you for real?
They got 8.
See, I don't
They
even
get
look
the
at this
damage.
stuff.
They get the proficiency and damage bonus of the warlock added to their normal to their normal attack,
Oh,
and they get extra hit points per level based on the warlock. Yeah. Or not the warlock. No, I'm sorry, necromancer. My bad. Completely rewind. The necromancer wizard, but that they can get some seriously buff skeletons and zombies out there.
Yeah, sorcerer or
6th level. When a piece is summoned for the first time, you choose an ally and they get a buff or action according to the piece. Oof. Damn.
That's a really powerful class.
Can you do me a solid? Can you write that stuff up? And I know you're over on my Discord channel. I'd love to get in the nuts and bolts because I like the idea. I wouldn't mind helping, if you want, kind of chatting through the finer points of it. But yeah, right now, just as the crotchety DM that I am, it's like, hell no, that's way, way, way too powerful of a build right now.
Yeah.
But everything is way too powerful till you tune it.
I mean, like you said, it was 3/4 cover. Could you imagine a mobile 3/4 cover? Like even without anything else, like
4 level 1 slots, you have 4 pieces of mobile cover. 2 of them that can put. Well, I guess 4 of them technically can push.
Yeah.
As part of their attack and provide 3/4 cover. Plus, you got to cast a spell with each of those summons. You didn't cast a spell to summon it. Because you used Magic Missile, you now got this 3/4 cover that can push its target when it hits. That's one of those is cool. And then when you cast a level 2, you get a knight. And then when you cast a level 3, you get a bishop, etc., etc. However it's going to work, that's going to build up a lot of stuff on the board. Yeah, it's a great idea. And like I said, I'm not trying to dissuade it. These are the kind of things that when you look at balancing something, you have to look at. You know, as a dungeon master, I take it to its worst possible conclusion. And if the worst possible conclusion ain't bad, then we're good. But if the worst possible conclusion is a nightmare, then we probably have to tweak it a little bit, you know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You're just doing numbers of that's where it all starts, man. Every character ID, every subclass, every spell starts with the with the ideas, and then you test it out. Then you play with it and see what works, and then you know you can probably end up with. I like the idea of it. I like the chess theme of it.
I would say probably instead of starting at level 1, it might be better to make it start at like level 3 spells and build up to level 9 spells for like your king queen to come out.
The downside of that is, go ahead.
I was gonna say I think that balances it out more because you have less of those spell slots first of all, and then second, I don't know. I would say probably do an either or because like then you can burn a spell slot to start getting to get one out. I don't know.
Well, you see, if you do that, then this subclass cannot use its keystone abilities until it gets level 5 when it gets level 3 spells. So a divining wizard's going to get their die rolls on first day of level 2. I get my divination rolls.
Yeah, and I'm not saying don't give them anything before then, but I mean like a lot of classes don't get like more powerful shit like that until they're like higher levels, though. You know,
I would adjust it down and honestly limit it to one piece that stays on the board without concentration requirements when it's cast, because that way you have to be a little more tactical about what you want it when you want to burn that. And let it remain as a summon until you do it again. That way you don't have to curve back the armor class, you don't have to curve back the attack bonuses, all of that. The player needs to be smart. Okay, we just need something chunky right now. So that way you can keep the pieces being unique and being buff and make them a bonus of the spell, but don't give them 7 or 8 of them.
Yeah.
To where they, after a while, even the person using them be like, just kill the pawns, I don't even care. Because I promise you, wrestling through 5 to 7 tokens every turn for a 12 round combat, everyone's gonna be sick of it by the end of the day. Yeah. That, you know, right off the bat, we've just been looking at it, talking about it for 10 minutes. We haven't even seen any numbers, so you know, I'm trying.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
but no, I think I could get down with that. Like where you could get one of them at a time. I think that'd be perfectly fine, and it would depend.
Or maybe they last for that round.
Yeah.
When you cast the 3rd level spell, when you use a 3rd level spell slot to cast a spell, you summon the bishop. Until the end of your turn, as a bonus action, until your end of your turn, the bishop can do A, B, or C. Yeah, I would say at the beginning of your next turn, the bishop disappears. That way you still get the cover benefit out of it.
Yeah.
You know, and you can use 2 or 3 or 4 of them because they're disappearing at the end. There's got to be some balance. The entire idea was battle strategist running around the battlefield going, okay, my pawn is threatening the goblin. So I'll cast a 3rd level spell to summon a knight, which will give the fighter an extra movement speed. Hopefully none of the enemies have fireball. The stat pieces have low as F-dex stats. Okay. Like I said, that's when I kind of made the reference, it would be a great solo class. Because that's what you're doing at that point. You know, I mean, if you got 3 or 4 pawns, good idea. Let's keep chatting about it. I'd love to see some data on it. Love to see some numbers as we go. And feel free to kick them in while we're chatting.
The idea of being able to use chess pieces as like a combat thing, I love that. I think that's really cool. Yeah, I dig it hard.
You know, the idea of this, because that's the summation of strategy in D&D. It's for Kryn / Dragonlance, it was Kos. For the rest of us over here, it's Dragon Chess. Dragon Chess is transcended all the world, but doesn't matter. That's the pinnacle of strategic thinking in the D&D fantasy multiverse. So having a wizard subclass built upon that as their casting style and strategy is a good idea. I just think, you know, if we spend some time in collaborative thinking, kick it back, we probably make it a fun and balanced.
Oh, I think it'd be really fun, yeah.
Yeah, the subclass would work great with 1 or 2 sidekicks, but if I balance it out, I know I can make a risky but rewarding. So yeah, that's where they're fun. That time, you know, a divination wizard. They're kind of the lamest wizard, except for twice a day.
Yeah.
They don't get anything special damage for their spells. They don't get anything bonus. They get it. If I cast a divination spell, I get an extra spell slot back. Okay, cool. There's like 5 divination spells that are worth casting in combat. Go you.
Yeah.
But twice a fucking day and eventually 3 times, everyone is gonna high five that fool, or I'm gonna curse that fool because of those div rolls. That's all the div wizard gets. You're just a run-of-the-mill plain wizard, man. But twice a day, twice a combat day, you can have such a tremendous impact on the course of a game. You know, so that's kind of the, I wouldn't even say risk versus reward, or it is a risk. Shit, my boy just got hit in that fireball. Do I burn this div to give him the save, or do I need to save this for something real? You know?
Yeah.
He's gonna take damage anyway. I'm not wasting this div on that. Screw it.
He'll still be standing either way. It's fine.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
I'll use it if he's gonna go down.
And I roll a nat 20. I want you to go ahead and re-roll that, please, kind sir. Fudge.
100%.
Yeah. Love how easy you can reflavor this. Replace the whole chest stick with an artificer obsessed with making battle turrets, or a necromancer summoning flesh minions and bloodbending their allies when summoning a minion. Yeah, potentially. And maybe what you, Sapichu, take a look at the necromancer subclass in the wizard to see how they buff up their undead. How many summons could you get? How strong are they? And if you're looking at it going, my chest wizard to kick 3 of their asses, then your chest wizard's too strong. You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, at the plus side, that gives you a way to guide it. Maybe you can use the necromancer, because they are a lot of summons at one time. If you really follow down and use their animate deads, use their summons, use their undead spirits and all of that, they can build up an army, and they can keep it going pretty buff.
I think we did the math one time, and I think it's like a little over a month, and they could have like a city's worth of people, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, mathematically projected out
people.
using all of their slots at I think it was level 10. What did we figure out? In excess of 84 zombies, 194 skeletons, and 10 of their undead spirit guys.
Yeah.
And these are all going to be like CR2, CR3 undead, because the bonuses they get from the necromancer.
Yeah.
So a necromancer can drop an army on your ass. It's going to be strong. So don't make it. So I don't want to dissuade you from saying that's too much on the board. That's what a necromancer is. But the plus side of a necromancer is their creatures can't cast Bane and this and that. So that's why I was saying that might be what you can use as a good baseline, a balance point to compare against.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, good ideas though. So
I mean, yeah, and we can like talk about it all we want, but like at the end of the day, no one's gonna know until you actually play it how actually broken it is. You know, once you get it like settled down. Yeah, it can be obviously broken, but I mean, after that, then it's just playtesting until you figure it out.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I mean, that's kind of something that you and I have been chatting a lot about lately.
Yeah.
It's so broke. How do we know it's broken? On paper, it's broken. Does Action Economy fix it? That's really busted, but you can only do it once a day, so I'm going to hit you 3 times today.
Yeah.
You know, it's that doesn't make it broken. That makes it me not doing a good job making them manage their resources. If no matter what I do, I throw 7 freaking Tarrasques at them and they still win, yeah, you're broken. You know?
Yeah.
So until we've actually played it, put it on the table, rolled the dice, not just once, 4 or 5 times in different conditions, we don't know that it's broken. You know, like I said, go ahead, please.
No, I was just thinking about I think his name is Puffin Force. He's a YouTuber, right? And he made a character that was just he multi-classed into every class, and his name was just Absanard, and he's the worst character because he multi-classed into everything. Like he does nothing good.
Yeah, absolutely. You know.
Yeah.
Well, and that's reminiscent of your old super elf back in the day, fighter, magic user, thief.
Oh,
I can be all 3 of them, and I can be 7, 11, and 13, and then I'm done. On 27th level fighter, you got half my hit points. Let's fight. No. You're on 11th level magic user. Well, I can't wear you're a fighter, and well, I can't wear metal armor if I want to use magic. So unless I have Elven Chain or Drow Adamantine would allow you to cast spells while you're wearing that. Although a cleric could cast while they wear Warplate Mail, go figure.
Well, that's because God.
God's casting for him, right?
Yeah, gods don't understand metal. That's
Okay. So Pichu's saying to answer Josh, the king is unlocked at level 11. Once a long rest, you can summon a shiny king piece. The king shares your hit points pool, but while it is present, you can move 2 pieces on your turn. So you're turning yourself into a glass canyon with a very shiny weak point, and the king lasts for an hour.
yeah. I was gonna say yeah. That's I would say that as a wizard, that's not that is kind of a real big downside if you share its hit points with it. Ooh, yeah, you can go down real
Yeah.
fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not bad though.
That's adding some balance and inherent risk to using the piece. That's
Absolutely.
smart. That's making it shit. Do I want to do this and risk dying? Because if that king gets blasted, I'm screwed too.
Yeah,
You know. Yeah, but that's challenging, engaging, balanced gameplay type of stuff. That's a fun idea.
it's not bad.
So tricks, traps, all of that.
Yes.
We totally got sidetracked, and that's okay. That's what we do every week here, and that's part of the fun of having these open chats. I still rest heavily on the idea that it's up to you as a dungeon master to establish the expectations as part of the campaign if you want them to be more than die rolls.
Yeah.
Now, once that's established, how do you handle describing them? Can you? That's where we kind of went sideways, because is it even worth coming up with a description when someone's got a passive perception of 18 and a passive investigation of 15?
Yeah.
Yeah, you see the 3 bricks that serve as the trigger point. Go.
I pressed those 3 bricks. Well, you done fucked up. You were supposed to push them in a specific order.
Yeah, so exactly, and that's where we kind of went onto the bottles and the shelf bottle
Yes.
trap. I told them exactly the good and the bad. I didn't tell them which was which. It's up to them to figure that out. That's where the die roll stops and the player's intuition starts.
Yeah. Like I think it's one of the
Oh, that's mean. Sapichu says the best trap for a dungeon is a rope with barbed wire inside of it over a pit. The moment you grab to swing it, the rope slides your hands, cut your hands, and then you fall. You'd have to at least give him a constitution roll, but yeah, I'd be down for that shit.
Yeah.
Do you have the strength to hold on to this rope as it shreds your hands and you take 1d6 piercing damage? Or you can let it go. You don't have a choice. Give me the roll.
Yeah. Well, I mean, but then we also have
They
stuff.
still hate me.
We also have stuff like, oh, my paladin is wearing full plate mail, so I have metal gauntlets on.
Yeah,
you know, kind of stuff.
Yeah. So I mean, but yeah, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Because how often do
Oh.
they get to enjoy wearing full plate gauntlets and say, "Oh, dude, so I'm wearing plate. Does that mean you're good to go?" And
That's
they're
even
like, "Fuck the rest of y'all."
that's actually kind of cool because like even stuff like if you had like a blacksmith's kit, you could have blacksmith gauntlets as well, which would are pierce resistant. So you could also grab onto those because they're hide basically, you know, like thick hide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be up to you as a dungeon master to educate. That becomes problem solving.
That's fine.
That turns a simple trick trap into a puzzle.
Absolutely.
If you account for that kind of thing. If it's an all or nothing fit, then it comes down to the die roll again. If you let your players, the first one goes across, gets their hands sliced up, the second guy falls into the pit, the other 2 are like, what can we do? Can we wrap some stuff around the rope to give us the extra cushion? Yes, give me a sleight of hand or instead of an athletics next time to hold on to it smoother, whatever. So you can reward them with an easier check if they use their ingenuity, or if they say, solid metal hands, I'm good, then that's one of the benefits of being a full plate wearer.
Yeah.
Because
You
odds
can't
are there's
sneak for
2
shit.
people wearing full plate. That's your fighter who gets to attack, or that's your paladin who gets to smite. So let them enjoy being special for a moment.
Yeah. That's
You know?
completely fair. Because yeah, both of
Yeah, so-
both of those classes are I can do a lot of damage to one person.
Or I can do a little damage to a lot of people if you're a
Yeah.
battle master, but
That's
that's
fair.
about
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
right? You know. I've introduced my party to an Excalibur in the middle of the room, and the moment they pull the sword off, lava leaks out the slit, the sword melts, and it slows it. It's a dunce, and the real sword is revealed on the other side of the room. That's horrifying.
So you say Excalibur to me. I have Soul Eater here. I think of the Excalibur from Soul Eater, which is, I would love if a fucking DM would actually put that character into a game, Soul Eater in that Excalibur is like one of the most powerful weapons in the fucking world, but he is the most obnoxious fucking person. Like everybody hates him. He refuses to work with you unless you follow like these like 1,000 rules every fucking day, and he is super fucking obnoxious. So everybody's like, I don't want to use him. Like I don't care how fucking strong it makes me. I don't want to use him.
Right. That's awesome.
I
That's
love
the
it.
trade-off.
Yeah.
Which is funny. It's like you give someone a holy sword that depends on you have to follow these 10 tenets every day, including feeding the peasants and the orphans before you eat breakfast yourself, and kneeling in prayer 3 times a day. Or you say, kill someone daily and you will wield me. Every motherfucker going to take the one that's going to let you kill daily. Even though you're selling your sword to a soul, this one's easy. I just got to go kill a fool to make this sword happy.
Other way around.
I have to take care of people for this sword to be happy. Fuck this sword.
See, I think it would depend, because like the orphan thing makes it really difficult because I might not be near orphans.
But I'm being
yeah. No, I know. I understand what you're saying.
But even if it was, you must do one good deed a day, and you cannot strike first in any combat, and I will empower you with the exact same thing that you get out of Black Razor, would you use it?
Yeah, I think.
And if you didn't do one good day, and if you ever struck first, it would absorb your soul the same way Black Razor does if you fail Black Razor.
I'm into it, actually. That's not bad. That's kind of cool to give to like a paladin or like a cleric and like really test their faith.
Well, but yeah, exactly.
Ooh.
This person has to act that way anyway. There's no challenge there.
Hold on, wait. No, I was going to say, actually, yes, give it to the rogue. The rogue
a short sword that way?
Yeah. And they have to, can't steal. Oh.
So.
Or you have to Robin Hood style it if you are stealing.
Exactly. So I mean, that's twisting the paradigm on his side for that kind of. I know we went off track, but
I like that kind of stuff.
Dude, the Holy Avenger used to be the most potent sword in 5e, or not 5e, 1e. Black Razor was in 1e, Stormbringer was 1e, the Sword of Kos was in 1e, and the Holy Avenger was the most powerful sword because you had to be a paladin, you had to be lawful good, and if you did anything bad, you were burning up on the spot. So no one wanted that fucking sword.
That's cool though. That's bad as fuck. I'd love that. Oh man, you would put an instant stop to everybody wanting to be a fucking Oathbreaker too. Go ahead, be an Oathbreaker. Yeah, you'll die before you get your paladin powers back.
Yeah, right. But yeah, that's considered restriction on gameplay in modern terms. Kind of go ahead.
So here's the thing: is that I think that doesn't fall into it, okay? Because you still have a choice.
Go ahead.
You don't have to use that weapon. You still have a choice.
True.
So like, there's complete player agency in it. It's just that once you take it, this is how it has to go down, and you are fully aware of this before you go into it. So that's on you.
Well, let's refer back to one of our campaigns a while back ago when we started out with a wizard, and then the player realized that we're going to White Plume Mountain down the line, and they suddenly became a barbarian.
Yeah.
They re-rolled their entire character for a weapon.
That you weren't going to see for another, 8 levels.
Right. Silly trap idea from Sapichu. Have the entire dungeon be made of rubber. Lava be dyed water. Saw blades are foam. Dyed water replaces the lava.
Yeah.
Then have a single 15-foot deep real spike pit. The party will trust it to be foam and investigate why there's a door next to it. The door's just where the janitor comes in to collect the bodies and clean the spikes.
That's amazing.
Dude, that's White. So, Pichu, have you ever looked at White Plume Mountain? It's kind of a and anyone out there, if you've ever looked at White Plume Mountain in Tales from the Yawning Portal, I would also really strongly recommend Return to White Plume Mountain. It was a 2nd edition book that follows up what happens after a party goes and wrecks White Plume Mountain. How do they put it all back together? What's the world look like now? So it is literally set after some party of badasses went in and wrecked the place and killed all of the monsters and took all the loot and left. But it's 3 times as hard as the original. Of course, no one wants to go do it because Black Razor's not there anymore because it got looted before.
Eh.
But I agree, man. I mean, I've fought so hard to get you guys weaned off of loot as part of the game because I just don't give any out.
That's true. That's true.
I'm hoping you guys
I
are
think
learning
like
over the course of attrition that my character is more than the collection of items that I have because this
absolutely.
fucker doesn't give us anything.
No, absolutely. You make sure everybody has at least a +1 that they can use, and that's it. That's what you got. You might find something later on if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's be honest, though. I mean, I'll be honest. There's been a lot of loot that you guys have either lost access to or just
Or
walked by.
skipped. Yeah, absolutely, and I agree.
So
And that's what I'm saying. If you're lucky, you might get something better.
yeah, but yeah, I'm not the every creature drops a bag of loot. You know, I mean, and I feel so bad for DMs that are getting into D&D after Baldur's Gate 3. How come ain't no one dropping magic weapons at this level? Everyone, but that's kind of a thing, though. You know, I was doing my Descent into the Drow review, or not Descent into the Vault of the Drow. All of the creatures that the party's fighting as they go into the Vault of the Drow, this is a 9th level adventure, by the way, they all have +1, +2, +3 weapons and armor because they're 4th, 5th, 6th level creatures. They should, just like a 5th level person should have a +1, a CR5 can have a +1. It's okay, you know?
Yeah.
If you want to run it that way, you know, but the flip side of that is if you run it that way, prepare for a horrifyingly broken market. Fuck this, I'm reviewing a grappling hook boomerang. It's a grappling hook that always punch your head.
I'm into that. Oh man, I was talking about this with you the other day, Jim, but I actually think it'd be very, very interesting to run a character who only fights using the environment, like run a ranger who like is like, oh, I'm just going to, you know, knock this branch down to smack this monster in the head kind of stuff, or I'm going to set up a trap with using the environment in order to hit this thing, and doesn't actually use their bow and arrows or anything like that. They're just a trap master. That's all they really do. I think it'd be very interesting. It'd be very difficult to do, but
I would be into it, but the rest of the party wouldn't be.
Yeah.
From as a dungeon master, I'd be all about that whole okay. Do you know what how big is the target you're trying to snare? Do you know what size of branch to get? Give me a sleight of hand to make sure you get the right knot. Give me a survival check to make sure that you've got the correct foliage so the monster doesn't see the snare as you're walking. I would be all about it, but I don't know that the party would have fun with that.
I was gonna say it'd be much like our first wizard, where he was stopping to get flowers and stuff like that, and everybody was like, "Just give him a fucking component pouch and let's move on."
And I was into it as the DM.
Yeah.
In that moment, I was like, I can support this, but 4 other people are like, so I said, okay, yeah, that was an executive decision for pace of play. Yeah, component pouch takes care of it. You don't have to worry about it. I appreciate the role play aspect of it, but becomes pace of play, aka I want to use 8 flying creatures as my summons as part of standard combat.
Yeah.
Shit. Okay. Can we just automatically say you win every fight so we don't have to move those fucking tokens, please? You know.
I think.
Or I just drop a fireball every fight to knock out the tokens, and it's a moot point anyway. You know.
Man, that's really weird. Why do all these goblins have a staff of fireball? It's really fucking weird. Every time we come across one of them, it only has like enough shots that they can use it, and then when we pick it up, it's
2 charges and it's empty.
Yeah.
2 charges. Where are these fools getting like a fucking M72 law? Disposable fireball shooter, man. They got a Panzerfaust. I'm planning on making a subclass based on a Trap Master Ranger, with their main gimmick being bear traps and a wolf familiar. A lot of customizability for the bear trap in both normal fights and stealth.
Yeah, definitely send me that shit.
Yeah, put that stuff over on the Discord, man.
100%. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I want to do. I want to do like a Trap Master Ranger kind of style thing.
Sab, join us over on Discord because we can talk about this shit like 100%. Day and night and ad nauseum instead of waiting for the stream. You know, feel free to.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
In the game ideas. But using traps as a player. Well, hell, we're in the last half hour. Let's flip the script a little bit.
That's actually a good point. Because like how do you do that like within like the bear trap kind of thing? If that's within combat, like unless you're actually using your bow and arrow or you have pre-knowledge of where you're going to be fighting, like how do you actually introduce those things? Am I just throwing a bear trap at somebody?
You can't throw a bear trap because the fucker goes off as soon as it hits the ground, y'all. Come on. Oh, Diablo's made people so dumb about traps.
No, that's why I said at them. Just
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh, that's a nightmare. That's a nightmare, you know?
Oh my goodness. I'm gonna send you a dumb
Yeah.
video later. You just made me think about.
Okay.
But yeah, yeah.
Oh, shit. But yeah, I mean, well, let's roll the clock way back. One of the genius moments you had when we first started playing D&D together, you guys were in the village of Blue Dire, the dungeon beneath it, and you were getting your asses kicked by some lizard dudes. And didn't you have the idea to hammer the middle column of the support? You asked about the support beam in the room.
Yeah.
You knocked that fucker out and buried everybody, including your own teammates, but it worked.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, that's what we used to do. That was normal D&D for us back in the day.
Yeah.
And that's something we'll probably see a lot more expectations of post BG 3, you know. But that's something that's always been there. Dungeon Masters, you have to recognize that. Give your players opportunities to see that. It might be a little bit hard. It might mess up your plan. Damn, they're going to cave in the ceiling and kill all of these guys. So what? You got more of them. Next dungeon, you can give a solid ceiling and they can't use that trick. Let them have that moment, man. Give it to them. If they can make it make sense. Now, I'm shooting a magic missile at the ceiling, level 1 magic missile, and I'm going to kill you. No. Give me a real plan, or use engineering, you know?
Yeah.
Sapichu kicked in. Imagine a guy in the middle of the blizzard with his pet wolf, and suddenly a owlbear dashes at him. He dodges and opens his bear trap, throwing it like a disc, hitting the owlbear in the head. The trap falls off, and the wolf goes in fetches the trap as the ranger draws his bow. Yeah. Playable. You know, that's definitely something to play around with. Extra. Yeah, the image is cool. Figuring out how it works in action economy will be the thing. But let's be honest, we've got way more stupid shit that we're letting go in D&D than throwing a bear trap at someone.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
So that's the least of our worries.
Also, the wolf, I would probably take a tip from the Draco Warden, and like maybe start it off as a pup and let you like level up, get it into like a dire wolf kind of situation. Because I think that could be very cool to actually have that. Like at first, it doesn't work in combat, but like at higher levels, it can help offset the ranger's lack of damage by having a second damage dealer with you. But that's your bonus action at that point in time to do that.
I was trying so hard not to cut in Tuesday when you guys were arguing about, I'm going to bring a Draco Warden. I'm going to bring the Draco Warden. No, I got to do the next campaign. I was about to say, who's DMing that one? Because I ain't DMing fucking 2 Draco Wardens.
Oh, yeah, nah. Oh, I wouldn't run them together anyways. That'd be dumb as hell. Yeah. Especially like, oh man, could you imagine if like one of us took a chromatic dragon and one of us took a metallic dragon? They'd be constantly fighting. No, it's not about that life.
All right. And suddenly at 11th level, you can imbue your trap with a spell. Trade 1 bear trap for 2 small carpet spikes. Like area effect caltrop type thing.
Yeah.
We're about to springs, use bear trap as a melee weapon. Yeah, absolutely. Those are the kind of things, like I said, throw a bunch of ideas down and figure out what's closest to it. And it may not be a ranger. It may be one of the rogue builds, or you might look at an artificer. How are they producing all of their gizmos and gadgets and borrow from the artificer tree, blended in with the ranger? If you start with one of the, I know, I'm with you. We're hypothetically right here, completely, totally. But this is where it all starts. Yeah, an artificer with a background in, blended with the ranger. Maybe you take the simulated spell abilities of an artificer. You give them creative abilities of an artificer, but you limit it to just traps. You can create 3 traps a day during your long rest by tinkering. 2 can be floor traps. 1 can be, you can have some fun with it. Absolutely. A ranger, yeah.
I was even thinking about like you could do stuff like maybe one of their abilities could be like, oh, I can throw caltrops on either side of an enemy, like a 15-foot line on either side of them. So like the first ones beside you, then beside them, then behind them, like a 15-foot line on either side of them, and that you can walk through normally. And that creates difficult terrain for them, which could actually help you set up your traps and stuff like that around them as well.
Absolutely. AoE and AoE caltrop bombardment, you definitely make the class immune to their own traps. That would be a given.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, there's a lot of fun potential.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, like I said, I think maybe, and now that's going super, super, super homebrew. Almost taking the artificer spells and combining with ranger spells. But you don't want to go too far. You want to use, to make sure it's balanced, you
Oh,
want to use as
bear
many
trap
existing
turrets.
mechanics as you can. Bear trap turrets.
Yeah.
Shit. The bear trap's bigger than the artificer turret, man. Damn. Maybe you change your bolt cannon into a tranquilizer dart.
Yeah. Play Ana
Sleep dart
style.
spell.
Yeah.
Huh?
Play Ana
Yeah.
style. Just sleep dart somebody. Yeah.
Night night now. Not today.
Absolutely.
An official biologist artificer subclass. Yeah.
Ooh, that,
I
actually, that
had
could
one
be
guy
fun.
I was working with that he was a big Ben 10 fan. And he was talking about trying to figure out how to incorporate a changeling into a Ben 10 type of a situation. I was like, dude, no,
Tain't no
you're such
way.
a power curve. You're into such a
Tain't no
power curve
way.
at that point.
Oh, here, let me pick 10 classes real quick that I can just turn into. Like, no.
Yeah, exactly. You know, and so take a look at druid shapeshifting and tell me how wicked that could be if they could change it to any animal they wanted to whenever they wanted to.
Like even
That's
at
what
the
you're asking for.
even at the start of that series, he has a 10-minute fucking time limit on that thing. That's fucking 60 turns. Like you got time.
Yeah.
That's wild. Like even if you could only
Interesting.
turn,
It was a fun concept to kick around, but yeah, ultimately we
it'd be
couldn't
real
figure out
hard.
a balanced way to do it to still be fun.
Yeah.
By the time we figured out how to get it to work, it wasn't much different than a changeling with an illusionist. Basically, at the end of it, you know, I don't get any of the powers. I can't. It's not permanent. I don't know you can't shift mid. Well, you got to use resources to do that.
Yeah.
You don't have a little magic push button. This isn't a cartoon. You're trying to do this in D&D terms, and it's doable. But you still always, at the end of the day, have to think about balance.
I mean, even if it was like, oh,
And
you can only
-7.
turn it'd been -7. Yeah, and even if it was like you can only use one of these per, combat, like it still is hard to run with because out of combat
Yeah.
you're still a fucking powerhouse outside of combat.
Yeah. Well, again, the one first thing I would say is whether it's homebrew or anything else, before you assume it's broken, run it a few times.
Yeah.
Before you assume, you know, that's so broken, remember there's always an action economy that we, the dungeon masters, control. Players blowing through an encounter too quick, give them 2 encounters, one after the other. They handle those and then they short rest, give them another encounter. Make them use their freaking resources. Make the encounters bigger. We are the ones that are in control of all of that. The players can find the perfect build, but the action economy still works in the favor of game balance. That's badass. How many spell slots did that take? 3? Cool. And they hate when I do that to them. My groups know we're fucked as soon as I say that.
No. I'm sorry. I'm on the Ben 10 thing now. I'm like thinking about it in my
Okay.
head when I was like, okay, so you can turn into them for 10 rounds of combat, but once it's over, you can't turn back into anything else, and you become a normal commoner. Like it would be the only way that I could offset that. Like you have 10 rounds, where you're going to be a specific class, and then once that's done, that's it. Like if combat runs longer, which they're going to the further you get in,
Yeah.
you're just a commoner at that point in time. That's the only way you can really balance it.
Dude. I mean, I'm not even thinking about the balance. For me, it was the application. You're going to spend 5 minutes finding the stat block that you need for this creature at this point in time every single time. You're going to have to know every class and every ability. And then we're going to spend extra time setting
That's
up
true.
your different spell blocks because I was a wizard last time and now I'm a cleric. For me, it was just the whole logistics breakdown of it, man. Yeah, it was
different
like
character sheets. That's all I would do. If it was allowed, I would never try to write it into one character sheet because that'd be too fucking much to deal with.
so
Sorry, I got
Peachy's
11
kicking in.
character sheets.
Yeah, no kidding. I'd make it a legendary magic item, not a character. The item has 2 charges. You can spend a charge to polymorph into a creature on the watch's catalog. This lasts for 10 minutes before needing a 20-minute cooldown. It gets 1 charge back every midnight. So you're limited to once a day.
I was gonna say, yeah, you could do like a polymorph thing with it as well if you wanted to do it that way instead. So it's like, okay, like you polymorph and you have like the bear stats basically if you want to be the strong guy. So you have a fuck ton of strength, but that's really all you got going. You're not, throwing 4 attacks at once because you have 4 arms,
Yeah, but again, it was one of those keeping it, and it was like I said, there was no malice, there was nothing like that in it. It was It was just simply the situation of by the time that we agreed that this was workable mechanically, it didn't feel the way the player wanted it to feel.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's a reality. Sometimes it's like, if you want to do a completely homebrew storyline, homebrew setting to support this character class, D&D can do that. There's nothing stopping you from sitting down with your boys and say, okay, if we really want to play Ben 10 or Ben -7, let's figure out how to adjust the system to do it. There's nothing stopping you. But bringing a character that can be Ben 10 into Princes of the Apocalypse, that's not going to work, man.
Nah, definitely not.
Now make Steven Universe in D&D.
That would actually be way more doable. That'd be way more doable. Yeah, because like his
Planet Minerals got it all covered.
Yeah, he's like, okay, so I have a shield. Okay, cool. I could bubble around myself. Okay, cool. I can heal people. Okay, cool. I have slow fall. Like that's, I guess he has super strength too. But I mean, like that's really about like his powers. We're not going into fucking Diamond Steven because that's going to be a whole fucking thing.
So all of a sudden, not as easy as we thought it was.
No, because that's a one-time thing that happened to him, and he was stupid broken when it happened. So we're not going to go into that.
But yeah, so the customability of D&D, don't ever let it dissuade you from having fun and turning it into something that you want with your group. But be very cautious about bringing something like that into a standardized setting, or we're playing rulers written, except we can do this and this and this and this. You know what? Strike that. Do it. Have fun with it. Just make sure to take notes and realize when it's broken. Yeah. You're not going to know until you try it. You're not going to know until you try it. Have fun with it, but make sure you're taking notes. Make sure you're playing it because a lot of times that turns, a one shot turns into a 3-shot, turns into a short adventure, turns into 6 months of wasted time because we really can't keep this challenging anymore.
Yeah.
It's been fun, but damn, we broke the game. Let's go do something else. But if everyone had fun the whole time, who cares? Who cares?
That's fair.
If you had fun the whole time, who cares, right? If you learned something, great. You were able to say that was jacked up, but we learned this. Maybe let's try this next time. Even the better, man. Become a halfling for 10 minutes to be lucky.
Oh man.
No. I hate halfling luck. I see it.
I know.
At least 3 times a session, dude.
Oh man, you have no idea. Fucking, I made a Mr. Magoo character, and that's his whole thing is that he just has like every version of luck thing that I can give him, but that's all he's good at.
Like, rolls, yeah.
Because he's just Mr. Magoo. He just gets out of things. That's the whole reason.
Right.
His name's
Stumbles
Mr. McGee.
into him blindly and somehow ends up on the other side.
His name's Mr. McGee, and he has blind sight. That's all he has. 100%. I made this character.
Hell yeah, that's fun. Okay, but hear me out. We're ready, Safichu.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep talking while they. So yeah, we're on to. We're so far off track.
It's okay. Yeah, I know.
Blah blah blahing today. That's fine though. That's fun, man. Shit, we're having a good time.
Yeah.
But I mean, homebrewing character stuff versus home. Let's be honest. DMs, a barbarian, half caster, subclass. You're talking to the right guy here. Josh has always been about the nerd rage, the barbarian wizard dual 100%. Class.
I want that. I want to play a wizard that just has one level in barbarian just so he can nerd rage. That's his whole thing. I think it's amazing.
At least go 2 level or 3 levels to get your subclass, man. No, because that nerfs your wizard too much.
Yeah.
I want my level 9s. But yeah, and I do want to reiterate that. Don't assume something is broken until you've done it a few times. Like I said, I've been dreading this dragon fight for a while that we had on Tuesday night. I mean, I've been playing with the same group over 2 years now, and this is the first time any of them have fought a dragon under my control in any of the campaigns over 2 years of camp. Okay, because I'm one of those. This is an apex predator. This is an earned right fight. How do y'all feel about fighting dragons now?
I'm still down.
Oh, you're still down, but yeah, it's not like we're badass, dude. This was like literally the limping back home with acid burns and all jacked up, and one guy passing out as a dragon flew around going, ha, 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 ha.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Like, it's one of those fights where, like, at the time, 100% TPK, if Jim would have wanted to kill us, he could have at any point in time. But I think that if we went into it knowing we were going into it and had a plan to fight it, we could beat it. Like, I think it's one of those kind of fights where it's like, it depends on who
Fighting it,
has it. Yeah, who has
fighting it in its home term, in its home turf, in on its home terms, you can't win.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Fighting it away from its lair on your terms gives you a better chance.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. I think it's
You
one of
know?
those where like if we knew what we were doing, I mean, we knew where we were fighting a dragon, but I'm saying like if we knew how to set it up before we went in instead of just running in, I think we could have done a lot better.
Yeah.
Man.
Okay, a fairy creation bard investigator background. Max stats are main stats are charisma and strength. She's a pretty fairy that lifts weights, always skips leg day, used to look for criminals, decided to pick up drawing as a hobby, realized her fairy magic made her drawings come to life. Oh, that's cool. That's already my next character. I'm making Jurgen von Mangle, and I'm gonna have a 18 strength fairy fighter. He's gonna have these tiny ass little wings, man.
Man.
And I'm gonna make sure the DM lets me fly, damn it, because I'm a fairy. And there are gonna be these tiny little things.
That's one of the things that like I know a lot of people dislike about the fairy. I can understand why they did it, but like a lot of people are mad that fairies don't count as tiny creatures for players. They're small. So yeah.
Jurgen von Mangle's gonna be 6'8", 300 pounds, dude. Give zero fucks, dude. He's gonna be
That's amazing.
straight out of fucking Fairly Odd Parents, man. I got no shame. I don't care. Because I want to do the voice the entire time that we play.
Oh man. Oh yeah.
Puny humans.
And like yeah, if you're running that in Andrew's campaign, I guarantee you can still get away with doing your small stuff.
My small stuff.
Yeah, where you're able to like move through fucking just, like squares of people, stay in the same squares
Right.
as people, stuff like that. Yeah, I
I'm
guarantee.
a fairy. Technically, I'm tiny. Technically, I'm small. Newest fighter is literally just, hey, what if an angel and dragon had sex and boom, an Asimir draconic sorcerer. Yeah.
Oof.
Interesting.
I don't want Asimir Dragonborn like combos. I can heal everything and shoot fire out of my mouth.
Once
Fair.
Once per turn as a bonus action 3 times a day to start with.
Yeah.
And you've used healed 3 times, and now at the end of our first round of combat, you've used 2 first level and a second level spell, and all of your breath weapons. Let's keep going. So that's the thing you gotta remember, and I'm kind of getting reinvigorated as a dungeon master. Don't dread these moments, man. Encourage your players to do it. Try it, do it. Let's see what it looks like. Because number one, it's going to make my mind sharper. If it is truly that broken, I've got to figure out how to fix it, or if it's absolutely unfixable. If it's not broken, I just haven't managed it well as a DM. I got to up my game to manage this a little bit better. But until we do it, we don't know.
Yeah.
You know, the dragon fight being a perfect example. I was like, this is going to be so depressing. These level 7 is going to kick this dragon's ass like it's nobody, man, because they've been smoking everything up to that point. And I'm like, motherfucker, you're a dragon. They're coming up on your porch. You fight when you want, not when they want. You fight how you want, not how they want. And I did that, and the same group that has been cranking out 74 damage per round as an average was dead to rights at my mercy in 3 rounds.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of a tactical shift. Did not cheat, showed them screenies of the breath weapon that they took. Changed the paradigm of how it was approached. He wasn't just a sack of hit points sitting in the cave waiting for the players to come stab him so they could take his gold. He's been here years and years. He knows this place better. He's got this place built to help defend him. Change the paradigm and you change the challenge level. Fight everything at level 15 like you did at level 2 in Lost Mines of Phandalfur. Players are going to play and they are overpowered. Learn how to play your shit better. Dude, we got a lot of game left in front of us. So I was kind of like, I don't know how I'm going to challenge these dudes at level 10. I'm going to let them fight a black dragon and maybe win. Level 15? Okay, now you get 2 reds, a mated pair. See how that one tries you on for size.
Oh.
It's completely changed because now I've actually done it with them as OP as we thought they were, and it was laughable. No offense. No,
absolutely not. Now I'm just dreading a fucking mated pair of red dragons. Because like 100%, like if we walked up into them, they'd be protecting eggs of some kind, and they're going to fight to the fucking death.
You know, and that's kind of what I was joking about. Imagine what I'm going to do with you and against you guys with a beholder who has a lair full of allies.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Like the whole time I've been the
That
one
was
person that's like,
that was
don't.
just
We're
a
not.
dragon.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Pichu kicks in bad NPC idea. A gremlin looking thing that eats anything. After being fed 1,000 gold worth of stuff, they lay a golden egg worth 2,000 gold. They already have that with the stupid dumbass goblin who they sewed a bag of holding into. Andrew's guy.
Oh, other way around. The goblin's in the bag of holding.
No, the dude who's Smooch, Swoop, Smitch, Smash. The goblin that's
Oh,
in.
yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, he got a bag of holding for his stomach.
Oh man.
One of our other players, the DM in one of the campaigns that I play in, somehow or another. Hey, Fallum, good for joining, and thank you for joining us. Appreciate you guys being here. But yeah, somehow or another, this poor goblin ended up with a bag of holding within its guts, and he likes to eat gold and coins and all of that. And yeah, Vigilant Gamer actually pops in and out once in a while. This is his campaign. God, I can't remember the name of the goblin. Dumb little goblin guy. It doesn't even matter.
If you wouldn't have asked me, I could have told you. But like,
Now that I asked you,
yeah,
and I got really close with Smooch or Spoops or Splits or something silly like that.
Oh, man.
It'll hit later. It'll hit in about 3 minutes after we turn it off. It'll
100%.
go.
Yeah, 100%. I thought you were talking about the one so within the world of quote unquote my one shots that Andrew keeps playing in, he stole him out of the Tomb of Horrors. He was just kind of like a pet for Cesarac, who's just a little skeletal goblin. Like he can't be killed, but he's not useful in battle. He's just a little skeletal goblin, and fucking Andrew loves him, so he just pulls him out just to talk to him.
Excuse me.
His whole thing is that he tells really bad riddles.
Is it late for you? You're a European. Aren't you European time zone? I always forget. Hello, Fallum. Thank you for joining us.
Like 11:30 over there.
11:30, yeah. We just hanging out, chatting. We are completely off track at this point versus the line title, but feel free to jump in. We're just 100%. BS, and we're talking about home brewing now. We're talking about how you don't know if something's broken in D&D until you've actually played it 3 or 4 times. Just because Reddit says that this is the ultimate thing, they probably didn't realize that there was a semicolon in their little spell description that changes the entire outlay of it. They may not realize that there's a period that keeps these two things being separate. Yeah. Until you've played the mechanic out a few times, don't assume it's broken. As a dungeon master, don't freak out when your players bring this stuff to the table.
I will
encourage them to do it.
No matter what they do, you'll never be able to make characters as broken as you could have in 3.5.
Yeah, 3.5 some busted ass.
Yeah.
Hey Rob, welcome back. Thanks for hanging out again. We're just kind of chatting random stuff. Appreciate you being here. But yeah, so the fear of the player power curve, it is there in the player power curve is certainly in the player favor in 5th edition. But that's just a challenge for us as dungeon masters to up our game. If you're not sure on how the tactics go, if you're not sure on how to handle these kind of things, create more broken monsters as a win. You can certainly do that.
Yeah.
Always remember that the hit points that you see in the monster manual is the average.
It's just
it says 150.
Like
well, if it says 150, that means you could be at 299 and still be within bounds of this creature being in this combat rating. Straight up, that's your average. So if you're not cheating by upping the hit points. You're not cheating by strapping ceramic armor onto your Hydra to make him fireproof so they can't stop his heads from growing. Okay, you're cheating a little bit. But yeah, so...
Oh, never mind. We do have fire spells. I was about to say, the worst thing is I don't think anybody has fire, but no, I forget that.
4 fireballs.
I was about to say, I forget that we have 2 people that just constantly cast fireball. That's right.
Fireball. Did I mention fireball? Fireball plus 2 sorcery points so I can get one back and twin my fireball. Cool. Y'all done? Yeah. Okay, now the big monster shows up. Oh, man. So a simple HP buff so it lasts an extra round and maybe down a character or is an easy way to add some danger. Yeah. Take an armor class up 2. Anything that says any humanoid creature that says armor class X natural armor, you are free to add fucking full plate to that dude and have it sitting there at armor class 19, 20, or 21. If it so adding armor, changing their weapon damage a little bit, this might be a couple stronger guys. You can add a strength point to each guy to give them +1 on their damage. Doesn't seem like much. Number one, your players won't notice it. But number two, that's a death by 1,000 cuts that the players don't notice. You're upping the challenge without completely coming up with a bunch of homebrew stuff to do it. Yeah, hit point buffs, damage buffs, 2 hit buffs, +1 on the 2 hit.
Oh man, I was just
Little
thinking about
tiny.
think about if you had like a swarm of little monsters that could cast a single magic missile, just like drop like 30 of them. They all have 1 HP each, but like on their turn, you just got hit by 25 fucking magic missiles that you can't do anything about. You know,
Dude, why is how many times have I shot magic missiles at you guys?
I don't think you've done it once.
Ever.
Yeah.
We're dissuaded from it as dungeon masters because that's automatic damage that your players have no control over. And that's been kind of a long running thing. Now, your liches back in 1E had magic missile listed 3 times because that mofo was going to blow someone right off of the map with their magic missile from turn 1. But now, because that's auto damage, that's guaranteed damage, your players can't do shit about it. So that's why we don't do it. How often do you look at player spells that are auto hit? How often are you tolling the dead, your players? Simple as cantrip.
Yeah.
How often are you vicious mockery your players? Hitting whispers. I'm sorry.
Dissonant whispers too. Ooh.
I'm just talking cantrips, dude. Yeah. Ray of Cold. Drop their movement by half. Minimal damage, insta hit. Freaking vicious mockery, man. Hit that charisma. The only person that got charisma in your party is your bard, maybe your paladin. Everyone for the rest of turn, at least 2 people are walking around with disadvantage on their attacks by using a cantrip against them.
See, that's cool. Like that's such a small thing, and it drastically changes combat.
Yes, terrain is an underused added difficulty as well. Gaps, etc.
Jim uses terrain 100%.
I use a lot of terrain.
We have a lot of rough terrain and stuff like that. Climbing up stuff in order to get to enemies. Like, oh, sorry, that's a 40-foot wall. You have to spend your next 2 turns climbing it before you can get to him. 100%.
Yeah, but that's all good stuff. Absolutely, verticality gaps. Those are things that, if you're an inexperienced dungeon master, doesn't always have to be a flat 30 by 30 room with nothing in it. If it's a 30-foot by 30-foot room, it used to be a laboratory that's been absolutely devastated, and it's ankle deep in broken wooden glass. And if you fall down, you're going to give me a Constitution save or take some slashing damage and all the broken glass. You've suddenly turned a shitty busted room into a hazardous waste dump. I'm going to push you. I'm going to trip you this turn, and I'm going to make you roll around in that glass for a little while. Absolutely, environmental stuff. And that's what I was kind of talking about earlier with the dragons. Same thing, man. A black dragon, if you want to be a dick, the party doesn't get to breathe the entire time in their lair because he's underwater.
I mean, even past that, fucking, there's nothing to say that he can't grapple you with his fucking mouth and pull you into the water either. 100%. There's nothing against the rules for that.
Like I said, with the blue dragons, smother a fool to death.
It's almost like they have like abilities and items so that you can overcome things like this that we never get to use because nobody does them anymore.
Right. So yeah, don't assume that. Yeah, just you got DMs. Let your players get creative. Encourage them to try the crazy stuff because it's going to encourage you to grow more. If you're sick of your players beating up your dragons, number one, it's not your fault because that's how you and them were taught. If you started out with the basic set, you weren't given. Honestly, let's be honest, people. Unless you read Dragons of Icespire or until Fizzbands came out, you really weren't given a good guide to how to execute a good dragon fight unless you had experience. Now the resources are out there. I think dragons are a little bit more of a threat for people. Broken old potion bottles create a D6 of random effect. Boom. Unique encounter with a medium difficulty enemy that has affinity to throw and shove. Yeah.
Oh, man. You could home alone a group of people. Like have them walk into stuff like that because that's broken glass on the ground. Just walk across
Yeah, exactly. So
I'm into it.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We want to use the environment. We want to. We can make things more challenging without having to cheat, without having to homebrew stuff. Use your creativity, and the more creative you're getting with your environments, the more descriptive you're getting. The more I personally believe, the more engaged your group is, the less likely they are to go into what die do I roll? Just what do I roll? Man, if your people have gotten that where they just kind of roll their eyes whenever and what do I roll, spice it up, man. Bring some life to the table again. Get them engaged.
Absolutely.
But yeah, it's dude, it's all about having fun. It's all about building the engagement, being creative, and giving the challenge. And this is honestly, let's be honest, this is the most sustained mid-level play that we've ran.
Yeah.
7th, 8th level groups, and up to what we believe now, D&D was broken after 10th to 12th level. And even Larian's talking about how broken it is. No, it's just impossible to simulate in a video game.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean D&D is broken. It just means video games can't do what we can do with our brains. That's all that was an admission of.
Yeah.
Humans are still more creative than we are capable of simulating in a video game. That's why we stopped at level 12. Not because D&D is broken after level 12.
It's just because we don't know how to make wish spells work.
Dispel magic was a big issue.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Look for Dispel magic next time you look in your on your Baldur's Gate 3. It's not there.
I didn't even notice that. That's a good point.
Because
how would you do it? It'd have to be like an interrupt of some kind. It would, that's, and then like even if you didn't have it,
yeah, hell yeah, awesome. Follow them, hit 8th this weekend. That's greatness. So what, and we're and I guess part of it is like you're looking at the adventure books. They all end at 12th to 15th. And it's been one of those kind of things that we've been rumbling for a while. Is it because the game's broken? Is it they haven't tested it yet? I think there is a little bit of it but I think at that point at 12th to 15th, if you've been playing from 1st to 12th, Wizards isn't going to be able to tell you what you need to do with your group by that point. Only you know what's interesting to your group. Only you know what's engaging and challenging for them after 12th, 13th level. If they've killed Tiamat and they're level 13, they're ready for what's next. Wizards can't come up with that. You should have, over the course of 2 years of playing that campaign, found out what's next for them. So I don't think we need to rely on the publishers to give us high-level shit. Yeah. If you legitimately played with your people from level 1 to level 15, you know them better than any publisher ever will, and you're well-equipped to continue the challenge.
I think that one right there, I think, is the only one that actually goes all the way to 20.
Which one? Dungeon?
Yeah, I think that's the only like actual official module that they have that goes all the way to 20, which is the Tyranny of Dragons one, and that's only because it's 2 modules.
Yeah. Dungeon of the Mad Mage goes up that way. 14 is about my cap. Fallem's kicking in. 14 is about my cap without immense prep, even with years of dealing with this. Much easier to do one-shots, anything in the 14 to 20 range. I don't have to care about the world. Yeah, absolutely. That's that's fair. That's legit. Planescape's coming to our rescue here in about a month. Give all your high-level people an entire multiverse to go play around in that doesn't affect your world anymore. You got a group of level 12s and they own half of Faerun and you're not sure what to do with them anymore? Send them to Tintibulus and Acheron and watch them turn into Rust. Man. That'll be fun. I don't care what level you are, you're going to turn into Rust if you're there.
So I had to
Fallem is saying, Josh, he loves your shirt. He has the same one. They love your shirt.
I'm also wearing a one-piece hat. It's got a little sweat on it, but it's okay.
Great seeing you. Thank you for joining us today, by the way. We're at 5:30. You want to go a little bit longer? Or do we need to
a little longer?
A few more minutes?
Okay. About 18, if we can do it.
Okay, just let me know. Yeah. I just got to get dinner, get ready before we kick back in for... We'll be back in about an hour and a half for a live play Barovia session over on Josh's channel, by the by. Grizzly_10fin. I'm too busy DMing to try to run a stream at the same time. So 1,001 thank yous to him for taking on the hard work of keeping it running. But yeah, man, it's. I'm invigorated, man. I'm excited for mid to high level play after the other night. I know the dice went in my favor a lot of, but for me it was a proof of concept that there is play after 10. It doesn't just have to be a hit point sponge battle.
Oh yeah,
I
mean, and think about like your
pat your head and say good boy.
Your wizard dragon thing. Like that's a high level fight later on too. Like that's and all you've done is give a fucking dragon spell slots back. That's a hard fight. There's some dragons you can run at level 20 if they have enough spell slots to go with them.
Well, no, therein lies your rub. Do you want to? I mean, but I don't want to say rub. Therein lies your challenge as a DM. You get to be faced with do I use 3 attacks or do I cast 1 measly spell?
That's true too.
Because I still have to follow action economy even as a monster. I'm still equipped, adhering to action economy, because it's the system.
Burn 2 of my
So,
legendary actions this turn, so I get an extra attack, so I can cast a spell after doing my 3 attacks.
maybe you give yourself an extra legendary. Yeah, exactly. You get a bonus action or a free casting of a spell once per turn. There's ways you could homebrew it if you needed to, but at that level, man, if you're playing it well, if you have the Cult of Dragon truly defending the temple of your big ass dragon, your team should be nubbins before they get to that dragon.
That's true.
They shouldn't be facing if your players are facing the BBEG with every resource they have at a full night's rest, you did a shit job of setting up that final encounter. Sorry, I'm gonna call you out for that. Homeboy's protecting his ass. This is a final showdown. This is a final countdown. I've called everything I have in on my defense, and your players should be chewing through all of that, getting there broken and beating and bloody and standing there frustrated and dripping in sweat, ready to face that guy. They shouldn't be like, I don't know, woke up cute, think I'll fight the boss today. Shame on you if you're letting them do that. Straight up, y'all.
I mean, 100%. I definitely BBEG. That's not necessarily every time, but you should 100% have like a gauntlet ahead of them before they get into it. Like they're the BBEG for a reason. They got people.
If your party, and I cannot stress that enough, man. That's shameful dungeon mastering. If you're letting your party have a long rest out in the atrium of your BBEG's lair, okay?
The only way that I would be okay with this is if there was like a condition to enter specifically into where he was, and I would put you under a time frame of you have so long. If you want to take this long rest, okay, cool. But by the time you get in there, he's finishing up his fucking ritual. That, or he's finishing up his ritual, and now he's so strong that you might die anyway, even with all your spell slots intact. He's turning himself into a god at this point in time, and sorry, you arrived a little late.
I'm an old crotchety asshole. Well, we're going to use Mordenkainen's mansion, and it's an invisible entry, and it's on a parallel dimension, so we could technically take a long rest right in front of him. He don't care. Okay. He sees you disappear into thin air, retreats to his other lair. You don't know this till you come out, and he's gone.
Damn.
Fuck you. Find his backup lair now. You want to game me? I'll game you right back, bitch.
It keeps happening over and over again. Why does he keep running? I don't understand.
Well, you're giving him 8 hours, dummies. You give anyone 8 hours to prepare. Guess what? If you can prepare in your Mordenkainen's mansion for 8 hours, Homeboy in his lair should be doing the same damn thing. They should never come back to the same thing that they left. If your party's retreating from a dungeon for rest, they should never come back to the same thing that they left.
Oh man, I'm just thinking about like, oh, we're gonna go take our 8-hour rest. They walk out, there's an army in front of them. Just, oh.
Oh, hi. Fallum kicked in, said, I did something unique a few sessions ago. A player wasn't going to make it for the main game, and everyone still wanted to play, so we ended up doing a flashback adventure that was essentially a one-shot, where the same characters were down-leveled to level 3, where they had to save an abducted PC, creating more canon lore for the party in a fun little session. Yeah, that would be fun.
Bad. That's not bad.
That's cool. That's a good idea. I got so sick of absences that if you show up, you just get passed around like a doobie. People start showing up.
Oh my goodness.
If you're not here, that's okay. Someone will play your character. We'll miss you as a person, but your character will maybe live, maybe not. We don't know. All of a sudden, people start showing up. Life happens. I get it. And I'm not trying to be critical in that statement. But at the same time, you got 4 other people that are there ready to play. You shouldn't, I'm over the days of canceling because we have 1 or 2 people short. Life happens, not condemning you, but someone else is playing your character so we can play tonight. Sorry.
Fair.
And that's fair. But what you did, that's a good idea as well, because I suck at one-shots. I cannot do a single session in closed adventure to save my life. Can't do it. I talk too much. I put too much story in. I do too much to try to engage the characters. I can't get one done in one session. I'm just not good at it. We all suck at a couple things. That's one of my weaknesses. I'll admit it.
It's really difficult to do, honestly. Like one shots, it really is, because like you have to plan for exactly that amount of time. And a lot of our sessions, like because we do like 3 hours, like sometimes it's like, man, if I had 5, I could do it in 1. But like.
Yeah. For your group, we have the same person that has a busy life, so we have 1 game with them that's a main game, 1 on the side with the other 3. One shot. Yeah, that's absolutely right. And that's a good idea. We've even talked about doing that, but my concern is if it gets to where one person has got such a busy life to where the 4-person campaign suddenly becomes the side campaign, while the 3-person campaign becomes the main campaign. So I just say, you know what, we're playing a campaign. If you can please make it. If you can't, your character's in good hands. Your team's running you tonight. No
Yeah.
big deal.
We'll do our best
It's
not
kind
to
of
kill
fun
you.
because we get well, yeah, but at the same time, think of some of the silly shit that happens out of each other playing each other's characters
Yeah.
for that night.
Yeah.
We have some fun with it. It can be fun. Yeah, one shots because they really work those DM muscles. Yeah. I This is me, Fallum. I don't like railroading. I don't like hammering my group, and I feel like the only way I can do a good one shot is it's like you're catching them. They're parachuting out of the plane onto the objective. They've been briefed in flight and they're ready to hit the ground running, and they have to do one thing and one thing only. I could run one shots like that, but then I feel like I'm being so heavy handed that I'm affecting player choice. You're now playing pieces in my story, And like I said, that's a personal hang up. I don't think that's truly how it is, but that's how I feel when I prepare that way. I don't know if that makes sense.
And that is like a thing because I've done a few of those where it's like 3 shots, and it's like you definitely have to push the party at some point in time to go, hey, like this is what you got to do next, because like if you don't do it now, then we're not finishing this.
Yeah. Well, even the Domain of Dread that I ran as a side, I had that planned as 3 sessions, and I told him straight up we should be done with done with this in 3 sessions. In session 6, I brought the holy hell on them just to end it. We're out of time. Screw it. I'm done with this. You guys are done with this. Should have been 3 sessions. We're working on session 7 next week. Let's wrap this up and let's go. So there are, I mean, what Josh said is valid, and I've dropped into that. Screw it. We're doing it. We're done. Hell, Tuesday night we did that.
Yeah.
I'm done talking. Big B handled all the communication. All the forces are in place. Roll initiative. Let's go to the fort. Because we were getting back into this rigmarole. And while it's fun to have the discussions, if it's the same discussion we had, kind of like one of my questions on my new player sheet, you spent 3 hours coming up with the plan only to find out that the plan didn't work. So you come back next week to spend 3 hours coming up with the plan only to find out the plan didn't work. So you can come back next week to, screw your plan. We're going.
Yeah, that's fair. It's completely fair, honestly.
But it's okay. That's you got to know, is it? So I'm kind of shifting my entire DM paradigm a little bit in real time. I'm not worried about challenging the players as much as I'm not worried about the player power curve like I used to be. There's a lot of stuff out there. If we just exercise our DM brain muscle, the players don't always have to have the advantage. The players are very rarely ever on their home turf. Why are we rolling the red carpet out for them as they walk into these places? The players are invaders to every one of the places that they're going into. Doesn't matter if the players are the good guys of the story. In that moment, they're the bad guys. They're the invaders. Okay. You fight with every advantage that you can come up with as a defender, and things get a lot harder for your players.
Yeah, no, that's completely fair. And I think that kind of play,
a game right there.
And I think that kind of play inspires both sides, honestly. When players are met with that kind of stuff, it inspires them to, come up with unique solutions to problems instead of just, okay, well, I, cast Fireball.
Yeah.
It's like, well, you have 1 left and you still haven't hit the fucking the boss monster of this fight. Okay, if you wanted to waste that last spell, go for it.
And I have kind of, in a passive aggressive way, started warning them. Thank you for the 3rd level slot. Anyway, let's go. It was like, dude, this was the the front room, and he said that. Don't cast a damn thing. Yeah, Fallum kicks in. At the end of the day, we're playing a game, and you cannot always win. Not that means a TPK either.
Yeah,
that right there.
Absolutely.
That's something that I'm starting to. That's part of my paradigm shift. It's not my job to make my players feel like they accomplished something every single session, especially if they didn't.
Yeah.
I'm over that. I'm over the well, on the bright side, no, you guys sucked. You lost. The dragon stomped on you, laughed as he flew off. You're taking your tails home. I'm posting this in the memes and laughing at you. A month ago would have been like, oh, poor precious darling. Now it's like, ha, you fucking donkeys.
I'm an idiot sandwich. No, 100%. And I'm
So, but
perfectly
it's
I'm down with this kind of
Well,
shit.
I think we're all mature enough as a play group. I don't mean mature like age wise, but we've been playing together. We've grown together long enough to where we're ready for the next step. I'm ready for the next step. I'm ready to challenge my group to get to the next step. And those that are ready for it, great. Those that aren't, will handle a different campaign that's a little lower pace. It's okay
Yeah,
because you can play different style games. Right.
100% you can.
Sometimes the players losing can create an even more interesting story thread if there are paths forward. Yeah, absolutely. And that's why inverted pyramid.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't build up like this to where there's only one path. I build up and out to where if they're up here and they fall down, they can still go over there. Absolutely, like what you said. There's always a path forward. If your final plot point, if your BBG EG is big enough, your party is going to be. They are affecting the world in such a way that no matter where your party is, they're going to be able to find their way to them. So yeah, absolutely. Let them fall, let them fail, let them stumble. And they're going to find out Tuesday, a little bit more from an RP standpoint that I'm going to be leaning in on that. You guys lost. Not like laughing at them in game, but it's unusual. This is other than the forced cave in on you guys at the first Star Cairn.
Yeah.
Y'all hadn't lost very many things. You haven't won much, but you haven't lost much.
Yeah.
You've won every fight, even if you haven't made plot progress.
Yeah.
This was genuinely a shit. We lost. So it'll be interesting to see how the group reacts to this.
Yeah. Yeah, I was going into that fight fully expecting to burn every spell slot I had on just healing people because I was like, I know that I'm the only one that has healing spells. So that's why when we were at the front, and I was like, I know that I can get out of this fucking water weird, but I don't want to burn the spell slot because I know I'm gonna need it. And then I didn't even wind up fucking being able to use them all anyway.
Well, and there you go though. It's like if we go 2 more rounds, that's what it's like. Cindy's like, if we could have gone a couple more rounds, I think we could have had a chance. It's like I stopped swinging on round 2.
Yeah.
If we got a couple more rounds, y'all would have been dead.
Yeah.
It's just, but that was not anything the players did wrong. That was me executing the defense in a pre-planned, strategic, tactical way. There wasn't any cheating. There wasn't any alteration of dice. There wasn't anything but genuine, rule as written, intelligent monster defending his lair with every resource. It changed the entire scope of an encounter. There's nothing cheating, nothing homebrewing. It's just understanding what your creatures are capable of and setting them up to help each other out. That's all that was.
Yeah.
That's fun though. For me, I had a lot of fun, and I think it's like you said. Hopefully, it's going to escalate and elevate you guys as well. Okay, this shit's getting real now. We need to be a little bit smarter about things. We need to be on the same page when we go into this fight.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see. That's in y'all's lap.
I'm hoping that it does. I'm honest. Yeah, I'm really hoping that it does something.
This is in y'all's control at this point.
Yeah.
Like I said, forewarning, increasing difficulty. I have the level 5 rule. You guys are level 7, so close to being level 8.
Yeah.
And this real world shit, man. Real world monsters.
I'm 100% fine with that. Yeah, because like we've always had the you're level 5 at this point in time. I can kill you, that kind of thing. But until yesterday, I don't think anybody believed that it was going to happen. Honestly, not yesterday, Tuesday.
Yeah, because I haven't really tried.
Oh, I know. There's several times that we've had fights where I'm like, I know for a fact that you're pulling your punches. Like, there's no reason that this person should still be standing right now if Jim was actually attacking us. Like, yeah, I know.
But yeah, so that's part of, maybe call it fault. Have I been doing you guys a disservice by kid gloving for this long? Have I trained you into the whole world is covered in nerf anyway, so we can make the worst decision possible, still move the direction game forward, and not have any real consequences for it? That's my fault as a dungeon master. That's not y'all's fault. That's the environment that I presented for a long time, and that's what you've learned to play within. That's the bounds of reality that we've offered. So now I'm ratcheting up the difficulty to take us out of Nerf land. We're no longer playing with Duplos, man. We're playing with Legos now, Holmes. I found when I tried,
my mom only buys me Mega Blocks.
Well. The old Eddie Murphy Raw. We got Madonna. Did you ever hear that comment? Anyway, sorry. Fallum kicks in and says, I found when I try the players do more as well, which translates to some very interesting encounters. Try to harm them. Yeah. And that's, like I said, that's where I'm at. I'm on a major paradigm shift as far as how I'm handling the mid-level, the mid-tier adventure. It needs to feel different. It needs to be different than the same thing. All up till the last couple of weeks, we're fighting the same thing at level 5 with more, just it has more hit points. Now, part of that is because I've kid gloved based on I hate to use that term. I've adjusted the encounter layouts based on the structure of the group. They've been very vulnerable to every and any condition in the game, so I've avoided a lot of that. But the problem is, when you're level 7, there might be 15 monsters that don't have some sort of conditional damage.
I think I'm the only one in our party who actually has any kind of defensive against it, because I have advantage on any kind of, if it's magical, I have advantage on it. But I think I'm the only person that has any of that stuff.
Yep.
But
so there is poison resist, but there's a little bit, but there's no restoration at all.
Yeah, we have 2 people that have small fucking heals, and that's it.
Someone gets blinded, deafened, paralyzed, petrified, polymorphed, poisoned, cursed.
I have mentioned to Chris multiple times. Sorry, I didn't mean to use the name.
No, go ahead.
I've mentioned to her multiple times that I have a scroll of lesser restoration. You can put it in your spell book.
She can't use it.
Why not?
She's a wizard.
Oh, fair. Yeah.
So this is and this is kind of a big revelation as a dungeon master. I've always, up till recently, I've lived along the line that you can create a campaign for any play group, and I still believe in that. But you can't have normal expectations of play for every play group in doing so. If you want to run a group of 4 rogues and make a campaign that supports that play style, you absolutely can do that.
100%.
But you're leaving about 80% of the content on the table that they can't deal with. So it's going to be, you got to really fine tune. You're limiting yourself as a dungeon master to protect the group. Rob's kicking in. I like to go through all the monster manuals I have, give them the feel are monster slayers, but encounters are good because not everyone knows how to fight 50% of the stuff. Yeah, the old school stuff. Yeah. Monstrous Compendiums 2E. What was that? 850 something. I did the math once. Just the monstrous appendixes from 2nd edition. This was early on in getting content creation going. I did a comparison between what was in the compendiums 1 through 14 and the modern 5th edition availability, and there was like 800 monsters that are still out there. They haven't been remade yet.
Yeah,
now we'll see 30 or 40 of them in November or in October with Planescape. So that still leaves another 780 monsters out there that we hadn't seen yet.
Yeah, I'm really curious.
Kobold Press Bestiary is a good source too.
Yes, yeah. I'm very curious about what they're going to do with Planescape. Like I'm so looking to see this book. I keep debating because they have, like, if you actually go to the Wizards website and buy it, you get both a digital and a physical copy. They give you early access to it as well. So I keep debating on it just so I can get it early. And I'm like, man, but I don't know that I want to pay $100 for both of them just to get it early.
Well, okay. I can give you a preview of it. I already gave you a preview of it. Planeswalker's Guide to Outland.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet you a digital lunch right now that we'll see half of that copy pasted into the player's primer to the Outland released in Planescape. The same way we saw I6 copy pasted into Curse of Strahd. Yeah. The same way we saw B10 copy pasted into Dragons of Icespire Peak. Same way, I could keep going, but I'm not gonna.
But I mean,
Flea Mortals MCDM Monster Book is also. Oh yeah, good point. Good point, Fallen. MCDM Monster. Yep, Monsters Companion. Yeah, hell yeah. There's a lot of sources outside of 5e, and guess what? Most of them are converted to 5th edition stats for us. A lot of the third-party stuff, it's just dropping. You may not be able to drag it into your D&D Beyond account. You might have to go back to old school notebooks.
Hey.
That's on you if you're like, oh, I would use that monster, but I can't use it in D&D Beyond. Shame.
Hey, but you can. You can make homebrew monsters in D&D Beyond. You can pull up that character sheet anytime you want to. You just got to be willing to type it in.
And honestly, if you guys want to do yourselves a favor, go into your D&D Beyond homebrew builder, copy paste the basic attacks for everything. There's 4 values that you have to edit in each of those stat blocks off of the main thing to adapt any die roll to any monster. Straight up. It takes some time. I think I've got 23 commands, macro commands out of the D&D Beyond. When I do a new homebrew monster, I copy that command in, paste it in, change my hit value, change my damage value, and then it will work with your auto roller. Even you can copy paste some macros to make it roll.
Yeah,
So yeah, a little bit of work involved to import it, but yeah, don't let the I don't want it. It's excuse. It's a little bit of work. You're a dungeon master. You signed up for a little bit of work.
I mean, I'm not saying go out and make 800 and something monster cards, but
I gave up on 12.
Yeah,
I know it up here. I do the conversion in my brain.
Yeah, that's fair.
Armor class 2 equals armor class 18. 8 plus 8 hit dice equals 48 hit point equivalent. 3 attacks is still 3 attacks. As level 4 creature, that's going to be a plus 6 to hit on his proficiency. Let's roll. I'm done.
I mean, yeah. It's much easier to convert, man. I'm telling you, I tried to convert an AD&D module into 3.5, and it went badly.
Nothing goes either way to 3, man. I love 3's content, 3.5. I love the content. I appreciate the fact that there's a rule and a role for everything in existence. But yeah, it does not convert back and forth from 1, 2 to 3, from 3 back to 1 or 2. You just throw the monster away and use that game's version of it.
Yeah, because I found a thing online that was something like, oh, well, this is how you do the conversions. And I was like, there's no way that this is right. I don't know why I have a level 1 monster that's doing +5 to attacks. There's no way this is right.
Right? Yeah, so, monster conversions are there. Homebrewing is there. But, before you get too wrapped up in trying to find the perfect monsters or even more sources of creatures, work on your skills with your environments. Work on your skills with your encounter setups. More than adding more monsters or adding new monsters, fighting with what you have intelligently is going to give you the most bang for the buck. Make it a little bit more tactical. Simplistic orc is the greatest threat on the battlefield to a caster because of their bonus action aggressive. As a bonus action, they get to run 30 more feet to their target. You have an orc that can cover 90 feet in one round, guys. Move 30 foot, dash 30 foot, bonus action 30 foot. He's in your fucking wizard's face, dude.
Give him tackle on top of that. Oh, he just knocked you 10 feet.
Yeah. Think it through. Think the tactics through. Couple hobgoblins and I've talked about that a lot. 4 hobgoblins in formation with 4 goblins and 2 bugbear. Short of a AoE high level spell, you're going to do some serious pain to your group. Learn how to use the environment. If your group spreads out a lot in combat and that's their main thing, narrow down the rooms a little bit. Take them from having a 50 by 50 room to being a 20 by 50 room. They have to stand shoulder to shoulder and get punched in the face now. Sometimes as simple as measurements. Break up line of sight. Put columns in the areas. They can't necessarily see. Your monsters get a bonus to, a -2 on the player's attacks because you now have some cover. Don't, make life hard for your players with what you have.
I want to say it's charge is the ability that you have that lets you knock people back 10 feet, but like it's one of those things where it's like we understand what it means when we read it, but the way that it's written, it says you can knock an opponent 10 feet. It does not specify direction. So like technically your like rules as written, you can knock them 10 feet straight up, which doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. That's true, but sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, it's just that's where I'm at right now. Like I said, we're totally off of where we talked, but I'm kind of reinvigorated. I'm having a renaissance of my mentality and attitude towards 5th edition.
No, that's good.
I don't think it's as broken as we've been mumbling about. I don't think the players are as powerful as we've been saying they are. I just think us as dungeon masters need to raise our game. We need to raise our skills and our tactical knowledge. It's our world, guys. Make sure your monsters have home advantage. 9 times out of your 10, your players are invading their homes. Use it for you, man.
See, the wild thing is that
random Go ahead.
like you're coming to this now, but like me playing with you is like I've already introduced this stuff into my head thing where it's like, oh, if I don't want a player to be able to do something, I'm the DM. I can make that DC real high. Sorry, you can't do it,
Yeah.
even if I have to give you a DC. Or I can just go, sorry, you can't do that because I'm not going to give you a DC that you can't hit anyway.
For me, it was an overcorrection. Like I've said before, I've been a Mary Sue. If you're an old DM, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I have been Mary Suing my players for 2 years now. I'm more worried about their feelings, more worried about them feeling like they're succeeding than I have been challenging. More worried about did they succeed? Did they have fun? Or did they feel good? That's how I've been DMing for 2 years now. So that's what I'm talking about, the paradigm. I've known how to do all of this shit forever and ever and ever. I've just hesitated from doing it because I didn't want to scare people off. I didn't want people getting upset because their precious characters were getting killed or their awesome plans were going into the shitter. I've been very pro player centric over the last couple years. Now I'm shifting a little bit more to I have a world to take care of. The players can take care of themselves.
Here's the beautiful thing about D&D, in my opinion, and if let's say you were to go ahead and you were to TPK us, next session for our Greyhawk group, we could start over that whole fucking campaign. Not that you want to necessarily, but we could start that whole campaign over with brand new characters, and that campaign would be completely fucking different.
Yeah,
we would have different interactions with people. We would go to places in different orders,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that's like the beautiful thing is like you can rerun the
Yeah.
exact same fucking thing and not play the same thing.
And Rob had kicked in one of the favorite things that you can do that we absolutely great thing, natural disasters, earthquakes, tornadoes, landslides, floods. Man, you want to scramble your group? Have a rainstorm come on them while they're in a galley and put them in a gully and have a flash flood stick on their ass.
Yeah.
Add athletics checks and drownings to a fight with a bunch of wolves.
Here's the amazing thing about fucking natural disasters as well is they're not they have no will. Your alert's not helping you on that. You get no fucking anything against it. It just fucking happens.
Impartial.
Yep. You might be able to go, hey, there's some storm clouds coming in, but like that's about as much as you can get out of anything.
Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, using the environment that's already there, using the world that's already in place, using the resources in front of us as a dungeon master. I think, like I said, I'll admit that I think I've done my players a disservice by being so kid gloved and so Mary Sue for so long. They haven't been challenged at a level that's growing them as players. That's kind of my fault. So as I sit there and mumble about how powerful players are, that's because I haven't been challenging them. Now that I've, getting into saying, fuck it, I don't care. I'm not worried about if they're going to have fun. It's their job to bring fun to the table. It's not my job to present it. I'm here to give them a challenge. Dude, there's a whole new world of freaking 5th edition that's opened up for me.
Oh yeah.
My players may not like it, and I may be out of a campaign in a couple of months because it might get too hardcore for them, but
bring it on.
Then we learn I overcorrected the other way. I've been over here in huggy land for so long. Now I might be over here in this land, and maybe we might be in the middle. Hey, bud, how you doing, bud? That's where we need to be.
I'm not saying let's run full, 2E, bring 11 characters a session, fucking, but yeah, 100%. No, I'm down. Fucking paralyze me. I don't give a damn. Go for it, man. It's part of the game.
Yeah. So it's reinvigorated for me as a DM.
Here's the fun part about it too is like there are items that can help us overcome this stuff. So like for instance, we could get a belt of dwarven kind. You're immune to poison, or you have advantage on poison savings at least, even if you're not completely immune to it. 100%. Like there's stuff that can help you with it.
I'm gonna share it with you. I don't want the rest of the group bitching at me. Once we get done with Sakatha's Lair, I'm going to send you a list of the copy paste out of all the encounters of all the shit that you guys have walked by in the 7 levels adventure that you guys have had.
Oh man.
It's all still sitting in my D&D Beyond encounters, all saved, all ready to go.
Hey, can we go back to
Y'all remember that first star cairn? Well, we can't get that anymore because Bigby took it, but remember the mummy lair? some good shit in there. You know, obviously
And all you gotta
Iliac, you
risk
guys got
is,
most. I'm
I was
sorry.
gonna say, all you gotta risk is mummy rot.
All you had to risk is mummy rot. Well, you know,
Yeah.
no risk, no reward, fool.
No, I'm down.
Hell, you guys remember that map I gave you when you first got to Diamond Lake, and you guys initially were like, "Oh, look at all these cool caves and cairns and ruins and all that." And
We never went to any of them.
buy all of them, man.
I know.
I had 8 mini dungeons sitting around this your home base town, but that's okay. You're mission oriented. I get that.
Yeah.
But the shit's in the world, guys. I just don't run it like World of Warcraft, where you have a random chance to find a blue drop off anything you kill. If it's something of value, someone's either holding it or hiding it.
Yeah.
You know.
No, I'm down for that. Oh man, I'm trying to remember what campaign it was where I killed a guy by setting him on fire just to find out that he had a fucking fire resistant potion in the bedside table. And I felt so bad about it. And I was like, I don't know if Jim did this shit on purpose or if it just happened to be like work out this way.
Depending on the encounter, the campaign, it may have been on purpose.
That shit's funny as fuck though.
Yeah. But yeah, it's so, you know, I mean, I guess we need to probably finish up here because we got a session in an hour. I got to cook dinner and then we'll be back over on Josh's channel for Shadows of Barovia tonight.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, like I said, I want to close out. You know, just don't be afraid of something that looks overpowered until you've played with it a few times. It's been well established so far that 5th edition's power curve plays the characters. But I think here we are, 8 years into development, 9 years into development on 5e now?
Something like that.
I think the majority of players and DMs and playgroups are hitting the upper levels and realizing, you know what? As long as we step our games up, this is still a fun game. It's a little bit more work on you as a dungeon master. It's going to add a lot more risk to your characters, because if you had a conscientious problem of killing them when they were 3, how are you going to feel about killing them when they're 11?
Yeah.
Get over it. Yeah. a dragon should be a far more lethal encounter than a couple goblins.
I think,
you know, if you're willing to kill them with some gnolls, why are we stopping with a lich? Oh, they're so close to the end. I don't want to TPK them and end this 1.5-year campaign on a down note. That's your call, but I'm kind of on the why not? You're just one of the other thousands of skeletons that litter the floor of this guy's lair now. Sorry, guys.
You know what it is, Jim? I've decided this is what it is. It's because I'm a One Piece fan, right? This is why I don't care about these things, because anybody who's a One Piece fan knows that it's not about the destination, it's about the journey.
Yeah. But hey guys, are we good to stop? We hit your time?
Yeah.
It's been fun. I am kind of in a rush because I got to get dinner ready for the family, get some maps pulled up, and be back online here in about an hour for a session. But DM Geezer Jim here, Grizzly 10 over there. Thank you for hanging out. Whether you've been here for a few minutes or the whole time, we appreciate your time. Yeah. The likes, the follows, the subscribes, all of that kind of cool stuff over there.
And remember, everybody, right now it is September, 30% off of subs. I think it is.
Yeah.
Tier 1 subs.
I think it's 50% off of 6-month sub.
Something like that, yeah. So yeah.
So if you want to help a brother out or help another brother out and save some money at the same time, just so you know, Twitch did a big deal about making sure that those of us that are out here, we are getting full value. So it's not like Amazon's giving you a half off and keeping half the money. We still get full value. So you're saving some money and you're helping us out on September's, man. Yeah. So throw some subs around, help us keep our things running, help show some love and all that. But even if you don't sub,
yeah,
like, follow, subscribes, and join in the chat is more than enough as well, man.
Absolutely, 100%.
But hey, over on the DM Geezer Gym side, I am out. I've got hungry kids that are starting to hover, and I've got some new players that are running around in circles from Rats in Barovia. So we'll catch everyone. Well, not really. Y'all whipped that ass. Whipped that ass last week. But hey. Catch me tomorrow on my normal channel. Catch us back here, same time, same place next week for another Jim and Josh. And you guys be safe.
Channel, absolutely.
See you soon.
Bye, everybody.